Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, since we're good to go. Anthony, what's up, man? Welcome. Yeah, there you go. Martin Bogeski from Macedonia. What's up, man? And Harsh Shuryan. Anthony was panicking. He was watching some... You were watching the first anniversary livestream from last week? What's up, Aaron? Welcome, guys. Welcome. Nice, nice. How's the music volume? Is it okay? Is it too loud? Yeah, we usually have the live streams at either 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. There's some background music, or there should be some background music. If you're not hearing it, I'm gonna push it up a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, it's well, it's not that it's not necessary, Aaron, or I mean, it's not that it's either necessary or not necessary. It's just that it's a good option, and it really doesn't hurt you. Like, I don't think I've ever had a portfolio where I've told someone, take this wireframe out. No. And I've said several times, hey, I would like to see a wireframe because I don't know how you handle this. There we go. The skull, you mean the zebra scores, Martin? it was a good week, Anthony. It was a good week, but it was I told you last stream that every time I finish a course, and we finished the anatomy course last week, I always have like a small period of like burnout. It's usually like a week, sometimes 2. So I just take things very, very slow, just get some energy back, get some inspiration back, and then keep going. So this was the slow week. Oh, nice. Yeah. You're at the skull stage already? That's nice. That's like chapter 6, I think. Yeah, this course was interesting because it did it was really intense. There was a lot of stuff that I wanted to cover, and I was very scared, to be honest. Like, I was very nervous that I was doing too much theory and that people were not gonna like it. They were gonna be like, oh, this is boring, I just want to sculpt. But from the feedback that I've gotten in the past couple of days, people seem to really like that stuff. Now, that doesn't mean that every single course is going to be like heavily in theory, but I'm definitely going to be adding a little bit more of that because I think it really helps to cement or to make sure that everyone has the fundamentals like ready, so that you can do cool stuff. And yeah, it's also kind of draining because you see the same project for a long time. So I just want to move on to something else now. I mean, I love the character and I love the result that we got, but it's there comes a point where it's like, okay, I'm happy. Let's move to the next thing. Chapter 4, the head and the skull. Yeah, that's right, Martin. That's chapter 4. It's that, and then chapter 5, I think it's likeness. Then we do a little bit of likeness there. Yeah. Yeah, we had the sale last week. Thanks everyone for participating there, and hopefully you can get, or you can learn a lot from those courses. Let's see. Ave, then why do we do polypaint if we're going to texture it in substance anyway? Like, is it okay to use the polypaint as texture? So, polypaint is an excellent way to get an idea on how things are gonna look. But unfortunately, polypaint can only paint color, right? You do not paint like roughness, you do not paint metallic, you do not paint anything of that. You can try using materials and flooding the subtles with materials to get like a nice sort of like idea of how the element is gonna look. But polypaint is more of a concepting tool, I would say. People who use polypaint, it's more to see the, what's the word? It's more to see the finish that the character is going to have. But if you want to go into production, you need to have UV maps, you need to have proper topology, you need to have all that stuff. And that's why we do it over there. There was David, there was suggestion that I did like an extra chapter on polypaint for this character. And I mean, we did a little bit of polypaint last week on the live stream. But it's just, like, at this point, the character is ready to go into production pipeline, so if I just retopologize, it's gonna be easier to just texture him normally. So, yeah. Yeah, no, you can definitely use polypaint as your base color, and then, like, modify, like, the other attributes inside of Substance Painter. However, for me, in my pipeline, I find it a lot more productive to just go straight into substance than to spend a little bit of time on polypaint. I only use polypaint if I want to get an idea of how things are going to look, especially for monsters and things like that. But for characters, I rarely use polypaint, to be honest. How much time does it cost you? Because it's like a big test school. Yeah, like each course is roughly 2 months of production time. Sometimes I can do it in like 6 weeks. Oh, there you go, the Hinn with 1 sub gift. Thank you very much, my friend. So yeah, when I'm doing courses like the Maya course, right? Like you guys remember that one, the little island. That one took, I think, about 5 weeks to do because it was a little bit smaller. The Axe course, that one was a record time. I did that in 3 weeks because that was the first course that we were gonna launch, so I had to get it ready as soon as possible. And then the ZBrush course was like 2 months. The Marbles course was also a long one. It was like 2 months as well. Topogon one was a little bit faster. That one was like 5 weeks again. And then this anatomy one was like 2 months, maybe like 2.5 months or something like that. Prince Banerjee, hello from India. Hello, my friend. Welcome. Solid Mango, all good, man, all good. No, the lowest projects was 3 weeks. The axe, the Blender axe, the AAA weapons for games course. That was the fastest one that I've done, but it was very taxing. Like I was recording like 4-6 hours every day, and then editing, and it was just it was difficult. Prateek says, "Hey, I follow your channel or your every video from India." There you go, man. Thank you. We got to 20k subs during the weekend as well. We were very close on the live stream last Friday, and yeah. I mean, well, Anthony, you gotta keep something in mind, man. Like these courses, they usually take me longer than what it would take me to do a project for a client. Normally, projects for clients, like if I had to do like this character, like the anatomy course character for a client, and I don't have to record, I can definitely do the high poly in like a week, which is like 40 hours of work. But it depends on the complexity of the project, right? It's very different to do something for your portfolio while you're not recording and trying to explain how to do things than to just do it. So there's definitely a learning curve to the teaching sort of like a pipeline or method or however you want to call it. Chilla Kid, what's up, man? Welcome, my friend. We got James Hannigan as well. Cabin Bowens. Do we have anyone from Scotland? My wife is a little bit obsessed with Scotland right now. With Seraphine. James Hannigan from Ireland. Not the same, but close. Yeah, that's definitely close. That's definitely close. A friend of mine is working in Ireland. I think he's at 2K. I think he's doing animation. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our, I think this is one of our like signature series, like one of the things that we've been doing, or at least I've been doing consistently for probably like 2 or 3 years now, which is of course portfolio review. Today we're gonna go over the portfolios of all of the people that submitted in the June portfolio review in our Discord channel. I know we're gonna get the question, so I'm gonna answer it right now, and I know I'm gonna be answering again. Submissions are closed, so if you're watching and you want your portfolio to be submitted, you won't be able to make it today, but there's going to be a chance for next month, July. So make sure to join our Discord, make sure to submit it to the portfolio review section when it opens, which should be next week. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's go and let's answer some questions, and let's start working here on the element. We do not have the code anymore. Sorry about that. There we go. Harambe, what's up, man? All good, all good. Happy to be here and ready to go through portfolio review. Now I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I've been seeing a lot of not necessarily in these portfolios, although we might see some, but I've seen a lot of very bad 3D work lately. I think people are getting a little bit desperate. People are seeing that the industry is in a crisis. It's actually, by the way, about the crisis in the industry, it's starting to look a little bit better. So it seems like we're out of that sort of like depth, and we're starting to climb back up. Let me change that song. I don't like songs with lyrics. It's difficult to talk. How do I change this?
Bumping into trouble like a rebels where I came. See the
How do I change this freaking music?
I should know the fight of the man off a sight how I am. Ain't nobody asking, I'll be basking in my liberty. Cause slavery is real. Doesn't mean the shackles gotta be.
There we go. There we go. So yeah, so I've been seeing a lot of summer's coming. It's probably finishing some stuff as well. So I've been seeing a lot of people that are kind of like rushing into finishing like their pieces to get more stuff in their portfolio and things like that. And I feel like we're losing a little bit of that focus that I was seeing in older portfolios. Sorry, what I mean by this is that I'm gonna be a little bit more direct on today's review, okay? I'm gonna be a little bit more incisive on the things that we need to change, because as time goes on, right, like as time moves forward and technology gets better and better, it's expected that we as artists also get better and better. So if you are doing things that are very easy to fix, I'm gonna point them out, okay? I'm gonna tell you, hey, this is wrong, this is not how you do it, because otherwise it's gonna be difficult, okay? So let's start here with Venkiv. Let me just open a page right here. There we go. So not as subtle. I'm not gonna be as subtle anymore. That's the difference. So I'm gonna be way more intense. Okay, this is also another thing that we're gonna do. If you are online, like if you're watching this and you see your name come up, say something on the chat, so that way I know you're here and I can be way more, I don't know, expressive or direct or something, and tell you exactly what you need. If I don't see you on the chat, I'm still gonna give you the review, of course, but it's a lot better when I can ask you questions, right? So David Ordoñez says, hi, Ev, do you always use Kira or Photoshop? I mean, the term is an interesting topic nowadays. I've been using both. I like Krita for painting a little bit more and to do this sort of like scribbles, but I use Photoshop still. Okay, perfect. So this is Benedek Kisvari says, I'm trying to land my first job in the industry. I'm looking for a 3D artist or environment artist position. Any advice? Thank you for any feedback. Let's take a look. Okay, first things that I see is that we have 4 really good projects and 1 that's not great. This Dragon's Rise project does not look good at first sight, like the thumbnail is not as well kept as some of the other thumbnails right here. I think I've seen, or I remember seeing some of this work before. Here's some advice about this shots right here. Anytime you're doing horror stuff or scary stuff, it's very common to add a lot of fog and bring the lights down, right? To make this sort of like very intense ambient. It's fine, like I like it. I would definitely play the game like this. It looks okay, but it's difficult to appreciate the assets that you created. And remember, even though, yes, we use our portfolio to sell ourselves, to sell our stuff to the recruiters so that they see it and they want to hire us, it's important that we also showcase our stuff in a way that's easy for technical artists or technical directors or art directors to analyze how you handle certain things. So in this particular case, I'm pretty sure you did this modularly. There you go, modular building assets. So it's very common to see this sort of like modular asset sheet, which is something like this, right? Like just a render where you showcase all of the pieces that you use for that particular house or for that particular asset. And if you do that, not only are you going to show that you know how to like how to art direct or how to light a scene like this one, but you also show the technical things that went into making it. Now, again, don't fall, this is a very important thing for everyone, guys. Don't fall for the, are the ads broken? What ads? 8 ads? I don't know, man. That's gonna be Twitch. I haven't changed anything. So, yeah, it's important to show the workflow, as Hudson says right here. And it's important also that, again, you don't fall prey to just... Okay, here's how I'm gonna say it. Let's go full screen. Anytime you're doing something, try to find a way to do it in a new, more original way. Okay, so in this case, if you're doing a horror inspired like element, let's go here to Traplet. Don't just go for the typical things, which is fog and a dark scene. Try to look for like, how could you make the scene scary without falling to this sort of like cliche things. And one of the best things that you can do is look for reference. So for instance, there was this show a couple of years ago, Haunting on Hill House. I'm not sure if you saw it on Netflix. It's really freaking good. I extremely recommend doing it. And you can see how just with the color palettes, the saturations, the way that they are like shooting the scenes, it looks scary. Even like a normal scene like this one, it looks like eerie, right? It looks like a little bit yeah, scary. Or one of this with a lot of like a moon rays. So there are ways to make the scene more interesting and not just defaulting to the basic let's add fog and let's keep the lights out. So I'll probably add more lights around the house. I'll probably again add some moonbeams or moonlight somewhere so that we can see a little bit more and still keep this very sort of like spooky sensation. Okay? So yeah, that's that will be that one for that one. Again, I don't think this is good, man, to be honest. Like, especially compared to the one that we just saw, this looks very basic. It kind of looks like a PlayStation 2 game. So I'll probably just take it out. I'm not sure if there's an asset. Maybe the column here might be salvageable. You could do just like a render of that column, but a lot of the other stuff, it doesn't look great. This one, on the other hand, looks really good. This is like AAA level. Even in the, it's a little bit high on the triangles. I feel like you could definitely bring this down, especially for something that's as boxy as this. I don't think you need as many tries as you have right here. And very important, someone was asking about this recently on one of the comments here on YouTube. Wow, okay, there we go. Here we have a wireframe. Okay, yeah. So for instance, see this magazine right here? There's absolutely no need to have all of these triangles here on this flat area. Like, it makes no sense. I'm not sure if you use decimation. It kind of looks like you did some sort of like manual retopology, but this is way too much. The controllers, I can understand it. It's fine. Even the console, I can understand it. If you were going for this like very nice detail, I wouldn't mind. But yeah, this one right here, like that's a waste of polygons. Same for the cable here. You can probably delete some lines and make it just a little bit less optimized, or more optimized rather. It's not bad. Like, I'm not telling you to do it right now with this particular asset. I'm just telling you that some people might want to see a more optimized version. And then this is very important, man. And this is what I was like starting this video with. It's there we go. We got Sarn on the house. That's it. Sarn is here. So when you're doing something, like I think this piece right here is your best piece by far. In modeling, in texturing, in rendering, like, it's your best piece. It's a really good piece. Like, I could definitely see this on a magazine, like an ad or something. It's really good. So once you did this, or once you do something like this, your next piece cannot be worse than that one. You know what I mean? And I see a lot of assets here that don't look that great. Right? Like, there's just no story. Like, you added stickers and a little bit of grunge and things like that. And then this one, it just looks soulless. Like, there's not anything that's very, like, captivating about the scene compared to your SNES scene. Now, I'm not saying that this is not salvageable. I think this scene could use a little bit more work. Like, maybe, I don't know, some newspapers, maybe some, like a mousetrap back there, some picture frames on the walls. Like, if you make this something that I can really see a story on, that would be really cool. Because again, in this one, I can see a story. Like, I can imagine who the owner of this SNES was. A kid, probably, right? With like the stickers and all that stuff. But I see there's a story behind this thing right here. And in this one, I don't see it. In this one, I just see assets. Like, you just model and texture a couple of assets. You like place them on a nice little scene, and you call it a day. And again, okay, but it's not your best work. Now, if you don't want to go back, and if you're like, no, I'm past that, I'm not going to do it anymore, I'm fine, here's my advice. Grab this one right here and move it to here. So it's going to be the mansion, then this one, then the lamp, then this SNES controller. Because usually the first piece that you see is the most recent one. And this is why I'm telling you, like, this looks like a jump. Like, you jump from really good quality to, like, medium quality. And you don't want that sort of like feel in your portfolio, I would say. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's the feedback for you. Let's go on to the next one because we got a lot of submissions today, and I want to give everyone a little bit of time. Let's see. Yeah, but Double Snap, you don't even need that extra geometry if the surface is flat. Like, unless there's some really like extreme change in silhouette, most of the stuff can be done in the what's the word? In the textures. So this is Joaquin Hidalgo. Says, hi, my name is Joaquin Hidalgo. I'm currently a student eager to land a job, my skills in a professional setting. I'm focusing on character modeling and aspire to work in this field, so I would like to get feedback on my current work. I enjoy every step of the 3D production, and lately I've incorporated my characters into scenes to create complex compositions. Environments because of the moment. Okay, yeah, that's a very common question, which is, should I add a little environment around my character? And the answer is, it depends. I hate that answer, but it's it's one of the most common answers here on the channel. So let's take a look. I'm gonna take a look at your portfolio real quick, and then we'll jump into your stuff. This one's very good. Actually, the hand painted looks like nice. I like it. It's quite clean. So yeah, this is good. My only feedback on this one, wireframe. We want to see a wireframe. This one, I like the hand-painted stuff. It's definitely too glossy on the material side of things, and there's some anatomy issues, especially on the face. I feel like the face, I know it's a stylized, but even then, I feel like we could definitely improve a little bit more. I would need to see the reference. If you're doing this from a reference, it's always important to add the reference. If you can add it right there. Yeah. So see it? Like, I can see where you were going for it. Like it's very obvious, the inspiration here. We did not, like, if you were to ask me, did we match it? I don't think we did. And especially the face. The face is the part that we need to work a little bit more on, because it's very, very important to match that. Everything else you can kind of get away with sometimes, but yeah, the face definitely needs a little bit more work there, Joaquin. I've seen this concept before. I've actually wanted to do it before. And again, we are failing on certain things. Let me show you real quick. Because this is like, if someone really wants to check whether or not you what's the word? Whether or not you did something right, they're gonna do this. They're gonna grab your image. What the hell? Oh my god, give me 1 second, guys. Did I froze? I think I got frozen. Can you guys hear me? Oh, this sucks. What the hell? Give me 1 second, guys. I hope you're hearing me. I'm not seeing the chats. Everything froze over here. So I might need to restart everything. The hell? Testing, 1, 3. Are we back? Yeah, no, we got a little bit of an issue there. I'm back. Okay, cool. So we're back on YouTube. We're back on Twitch. Okay, perfect. There we go. I don't know what that was. That was weird. So, anyway, let's go here. Was it Krita that crashed? Kind of looks like it was Krita that crashed. I'm gonna try it again. No, it was me. It was me. I'm actually gonna be buying new what's the word? New RAM for my computer. I'm gonna jump to 64 because I feel like we're definitely having a little bit of an issue there. There we go. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. When we are seeing this, the things that I'm gonna be looking for as an art director are things like the proportions, right? Like, what's the distance between the chin and the chest? It's not the same. What's the distance on the hips, on the waist? It's not the same, okay? What are the details? Like, see how these details really poke out of the feet and create a nice silhouette around the ankles? That's what I'm looking over here. That's what I want to see. Okay? Same for this guy right here. Like, if I see this stair-stepping silhouette right there, that's the exact same stair-stepping that I would like to see here. So what you're missing here, my friend, what you're missing here is you're not matching the concept perfectly. And it's tough. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's part of the skills that we need to develop as artists. Like, how do we do it so that we can match everything as close as possible? Now we lost the music. I'm gonna put another music, guys. This is the one that we used before from, like, Riot. There we go. Because Chill Hop has been failing lately. Okay. Yeah, we're back. Gracias, Lotus. Okay, so yeah, that would be my advice for this pieces, Joaquin. I feel like, again, you're nailing the sort of like the spirit, the essence, but you're not nailing the details of the elements. So you definitely need to work a little bit on that. Let me get this down. Yeah, it's not a bad portfolio. It's still it's a good portfolio, but again, I would recommend it to polish a little bit more. This I love. I love this scene because not only am I a huge fan of D&D, but also you managed to do a little animation here, and there's a little bit of everything, right? Like, this is a scene. So when you were asking me, should I always model a scene for my characters? Not always, but if you can do it, like what you did right here, that's a really good plus. Like, it looks very, very nice, and it gives you a very nice like result at the end, as you can see right here. Even if you're using some assets that are not yours. So yeah, that's fine. Like, as long as you credit, as you did right here, that you're using some Blender kit assets, that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, because it just adds to the whole sort of like illusion of the piece, right? This one is fine. Mexican girl, yeah, very, very traditional. I would tell you here, and this is important, man, and I'm guessing you're Mexican as well. So this is very important, Joaquin, and it's very important for every culture out there, guys. So if you're gonna be doing something that's from your culture, from a culture, you gotta be very respectful of that particular culture. What I mean by this is, this girl has like a Oaxacan dress. And you're gonna see that the patterns, I'm not exactly sure if it's Oaxacan or from another place here in Mexico, but the patterns that you're gonna find in the dresses are very specific, okay? So like this flowers right here, there's a very specific type of embroidery that you're gonna see in Mexican garments, okay? This one that I see here, I know that that's the default like cross-stitching of the, what's the word? The cross-stitching of Substance Painter. So I'm not saying you were lazy. I'm just saying that you need to. That this is what I've been like saying from the beginning of this stream. You need to always use the extra little like time or extra little perfection to really go for those details, because maybe someone in the US might not know that that's not the pattern that you're gonna find on a Mexican dress. I'm Mexican. I know that that's not the pattern. So you will face people that will notice that. And if you do it right, like imagine that you had used the proper like Mexican pattern for that stitching, I would have appraised that. I would be like, dude, this is awesome. You nailed not only the girl, because everything on the girl looks really good. You also nailed the pattern, the specific pattern that's used on the dresses, right? So be careful with those details, Joaquin. And then this one, again, I feel like we're getting into that same or similar problem. Thank you, Claire, for the follow. Where you're maybe rushing things a little bit too much. Like, I understand that this was maybe an idea that you had. Okay, it was for a contest as well. Yeah, usually contests, that's one of the issues that I have with some of the contests, that the time frame is really short, and unless you have like complete free time, it's difficult to have a day job and then try to do the contest at the same time. So this does feel unpolished compared to everything else that you have. It does feel unpolished. I would probably take this one out for now. If you want to continue working on it, polishing it a little bit more, that's fine, but I would probably take this one out. So yeah, I hope that that helps, my friend. As mentioned before, guys, the portfolio reviews are closed for this month. You can submit, but you're gonna be able to submit on the next month's portfolio review. Okay. Let's go now with Manan Sarthak. He says, I'm a 3D artist in London. I have been doing this for a little over a year. I have been able to land a job. Okay. I'm sorry that you're going to have to take this feedback, Manin. It's not personal, but I need to say this. If you've only been doing 3D for a year, or a little bit over a year, you're not gonna land a job as easily, guys. It's not impossible, it can happen, but the odds of you landing a job after you have just started learning about your career, about what you do, are very, very small. Think about any other career out there. Medicine, lawyers, engineers, psychologists, any other career out there needs at least 4 years of study before they can actually start working with patients or working with like real projects. So it is a little bit, I would say, selfish to think that we as artists, just because we're artists and we're special, we get to have an opportunity at a big job after 1 year of practicing. Unless you're super, super, super talented, it's going to be very difficult. So my advice, you're going to need at least 2 years of full-time study to get your skills to a level that is like achievable and that it's interesting for a studio to hire you. Okay, otherwise you probably don't have the level. Okay, you don't. That's the true reality. And if you're not willing to spend at least 2 years learning your skills, then this might not be the career for you, my friends. Okay, again, I'm not saying you cannot do it. It's just very difficult. And 2 years is like a very extreme example. Like that would be like the bare minimum that I would expect someone to have. In my experience, people usually find their first job after like 2.5, 3.5 years of doing this like full time. So it is a grind, as Casey here is saying. It's definitely a grind. You're definitely gonna have to put in the effort. So don't expect to get things handed to you easily. Okay, so just by the fact that you're saying that you've been doing this over a year, that already gives me a little bit of information about the situation. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Do you think I really want to go into game industry? Okay, now let's take a look at the portfolio, because there might be some really good stuff in here. Okay, so actually, it's not bad. For 1 year and a little bit more than a year, it's actually quite nice for some of the pieces. I think some of this... There you go, No Soy Lotus, thanks for the sub. So, some of these older pieces, Manan, you can definitely take out, like this one right here. Not good. Well, it's not... I hate to say this, guys. Like, okay, I'm gonna ask you guys, like the chat right now. Do you mind if I say things like as they will say them on the recruiting section? Because I know a recruiter is gonna say this and say this is not good. But I'm a little bit afraid of saying it's not good because I know people can take that personally and be hurt. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be brutally honest with the next couple portfolio reviews, as long as you guys promise me that you're not gonna get offended. Okay? This is not against you as an artist. This is against the artwork itself. Okay? There we go. So disclaimer there. This is not a good piece. It has a lot of issues with textures. It has a lot of issues with proportions, anatomy. The presentation is not bad, but it's not a good piece. So I don't recommend having this on your portfolio. I like the chicken. This one is fun. Fun projects like this are always good. I'm just a little bit concerned that this is just a polypaint thing, and it does look like a polypaint thing. My advice, if you want to do this character, which again, I think it's a cool character, it's a fun character, do retopology, do hand-painted textures, and do a proper render inside of Marmoset, and you're gonna have a way more like stronger piece. This one I really like. I think this is a cool. It reminds me a little bit of the like enemies inside of what's the word? Freaking BioShock Infinite. Topology is okay, like it works for a game character. I usually don't model the characters with the palms facing forward. It's usually going palms facing to the side of the character, so keep that in mind. But yeah, this is good, and it looks like you did UVs and everything. We are a little bit off from the... See, when I saw it, I thought it was like, again, like this BioShock characters that are more like puppets or statues that are moving. And then I see the concept, and the concept's more like an actual character, like Mr. Jekyll and Hyde, or Mr. Hyde. Yeah, there we go. So, needs a little bit more work. Yeah, character artists are one of the most overrated, oh, not overrated, oversaturated positions. I'm gonna give you the best analogy. Character artists are like people who want to be either the lead singer or like the lead guitarist on a band. They're gonna be the most famous because they can say, hey, I did the character, and it's cool. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a character artist. I like doing characters. However, the competition is fierce. There's a lot of people that want to do it. So if you don't want to go into that sort of like competition, think about, again, the guy at the drums or the guy at the bass or the guy at the piano or whatever. Those are like the riggers. Those are the what's the word? Those are the texture artists. Those are like prop artists, hard surface artists, and you might be able to find like more options or more job opportunities in those areas just because characters are very saturated. And the best example I can give you is just think about, for instance, have you guys seen the new movie Inside Out 2? How many characters are actually there? I mean, you got Riley, the parents, the 5 emotions that they just changed like some wardrobe, and some of the secondary characters like the friends and stuff. Probably at most you're gonna have like 30 characters. How many assets are there? Like things in the world, buildings, benches, walls, props. Like there's so many things, right? So there's gonna be more work in the other things than in characters. Okay, just keep that in mind, Manan, as well. I don't like this one. It's just weird. It's a weird concept, and I think you use like fiber mesh or something. I don't think it works, to be honest. So I'll probably take that one out as well. And then this one again, it's better. I can definitely see the improvement. I can definitely see how you're getting better and better. There's still some anatomy issues. For instance, here, one of the obvious things is the wrists. We cover this in the anatomy course. So deltoid is fine. Deltoid is fine right there. This bicep right there is fine. Tricep right there is fine. But then here we got the extensor carpi radialis longus and the brachial radialis that goes around to the wrist. And the problem here is that your wrist, like, see how big this is and then how small it gets right here? That's not how it works. So either you tone this down a little bit, like the inside of the arm a little bit, which is what I would probably do, or you make everything else a little bit more intense. See how much volume I'm removing from the arm right there, especially because he looks quite thin. So that's the kind of silhouette that you want to go for the arm, because you look at this arm and that's massive. Like that does not work. That's not how it works in the real world. Okay. So be careful with that stuff, Manan, and just keep pushing, man. Keep pushing. Yeah, environment is also a good option, Seraphine. It's definitely one of the sort of like underrated things, but environment, and we're gonna talk about this in the next course. There's kind of like different types of environment artists. Some that focus more on like the terrains and landscapes and things like that, and some that focus on like modular props and modular modeling and things like that. Hey, thank you, Ayrton. You bought all your ZBrush courses. That's awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks for the support, and I'm glad you're liking them. Let's go now with Daniela. Says, hi, my name is Daniela, a recent college graduate in 3D modeling based in Toronto, Canada. This is my 3rd year demo reel. There you go. So 3 years. Look at this. Daniela, 3 years. So I'm expecting to see good stuff here. I haven't had much luck so far. I would greatly appreciate any feedback and an honest opinion on whether I should continue playing with this demo reel or if I should create new pieces. It looked like a junior BFX reel. Interesting. Do you think I have a chance of getting into BFX position with this demo reel, or should I create a separate one specifically for that feel? Thanks for the videos and the content. You are welcome, and let's go. So this is a demo reel. Quick tip, whenever someone sends me a demo reel, I always mute the music. So music doesn't really matter. I get this question every now and then. It's like, oh, what music should I use? I don't care. I'm not even going to play the music. I have my own music going, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, this is fun. I like this one. It looks complex because of the amount of assets that we have. I do feel like it's a little bit noisy, so I'm not sure how many samples you're using from the render, but things are flying a little bit. That will be my first feedback. Okay. Okay. So I'm getting some modeling, texturing, like generalist vibes right now from your reel. That's like that little animation there was a little bit better. I don't love this asset, to be honest. I feel like it's a very simple asset. I feel like the textures are a little bit bland. Like I'm not seeing too much variation. Like everything looks plasticky, glossy. This light looks a little bit more interesting. Okay, see, Daniela, I think what you're missing the most is texturing and rendering. Because modeling wise, I can see like some good modeling stuff, but the texturing in most of your pieces is very simple. I would say it's not bad, but it's very simple. And this is the kind of stuff that I would probably see in shows. My little girl, she's watching this Doctora Juguetes, it's called. So it's this show in Disney. It's called like Doctora Juguetes, like a toys doctor or something. And if you take a look at the models and the things that they do for kids shows, you're gonna see that most of the stuff they use, most of the time they use very plain textures and plain lighting. Do you guys know why? That's an interesting question. Do you guys know why kids shows look so bland? It's an interesting question, right? Because I've seen this in this one, in Dora the Explorer. What else? Like, there's a lot of shows. Render times. That's right, Salmon Roche. These guys need to usually finish like an episode per week. So the amount of time that they have for rendering is super low. So each frame should pretty much it should look good on the viewport. That's pretty much it. As long as it looks good on the viewport, they're good. They're fine. They don't mind, because they cannot wait for the render times that a normal movie would be. It does have to do a little bit with psychology, maybe, with kids like not being able to identify all the colors, and they prefer something that's a lot flatter. But it has more to do with render times, and I feel like that's what's happening on your portfolio right here, Daniela. It looks a little bit flat. Like, the textures look flat, the rendering looks flat. And it's not something that you need to spend too much time on. Like, even just like going over these projects again and just doing another pass at texturing, another pass at lighting, and you are gonna get a better result. I'm gonna do another one, guys, I promise, because this is another thing that I see frequently with portfolios. So I promise that for Tuesday is gonna be like the day for videos on YouTube usually. I'm gonna do another clay render video, a little bit more advanced. I'm gonna show you how I did the render for the statue. The one, well, you don't see it, but the superhero statue. So that sort of clay render, just playing with the lights in that way, can really make this look a lot more interesting. Because right now it looks like you're only using like an HDR, or like just like a dome light or something. So I don't think, because you mentioned on your message that someone told you that you were looked like you were doing some VFX stuff. I think you're closer to like a 3D generalist stuff, again, modeling, texturing, that sort of stuff. But you need to increase or improve your texturing and your rendering. Okay, Daniela, that will be my advice for you. There we go. So let's go to the next one. Hi there, my name is Danny, another Danny. I've always found my portfolio a bit all over the place, and I want to unionize the look of it to make it more professional and modern looking. Any feedback and tips and tricks on improving the looks? Let's take a look. You don't tell me exactly what you do, but it's pretty obvious now. You do hard surface. This is great. Nah, I mean, dude, I really have nothing to say here. Yeah, this is great. This is how you organize a portfolio, guys. And not only that, he is doing this thing that I've seen being done recently, where you submit multiple pieces that you did for like a game or something, and you put the name of the game, so people know that all of these things that Reed held let loose is the thing. Yeah, this is great, man. See, I've never done a tank myself. It's probably one of my... I'm not a huge fan of like a hard surface, to be honest, so that's why I haven't done a tank. But maybe I'll do like the metal slug one. Yeah, this is awesome, man. I guess my only like little advice that I can give you is, if you can add some wireframes, that would be great. Just to see the like how you did it. Some maps, some bakes. I don't know if this is a one single 4K texture, if it's multiple textures, if you're using masks. Like, I'm not really sure what how you're handling this. But from a modeling texturing perspective, this is awesome. I did one card. I actually did a very similar card to this one for one of my classes. Yeah, this is great, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's go with Spider-Man. Hello, sir. My name is Sridhar. I'm currently a final year student from Game Art and Design. I'm trying to get into the industry as a 3D artist or environment artist. I love realism and stylized. Anytime you spare for my portfolio review is very helpful. Let's take a look. Okay, so I see again a couple of good ones, a couple of not that good ones. This one I don't like, and the reason why I don't like it, it's very simple. Crates are not bad. Crates are actually a very good exercise to see if someone knows how to do proper base and things like that. But this crate in particular is very boxy. There's absolutely nothing here that tells me that this is an interesting box. It's a very, very boxy, like, box. So I don't like it. I will probably change it. This one's fine. Stylized Witcher sword. I like it. It seems like you did follow my Metal Edgeware advice a little bit. I would probably reduce it a little bit more, but I could definitely see this on the game. Very good. Yeah, this is great. That one, thumbs up. That one's a good one. And then again, this one. Oh, guys, you're making this a lot, and you're not the first one that shows me this, my friend. But people, when you guys are doing hard surface stuff, hard surface does not mean huge bevels or like intense bevels. Hard surface means control over the surface of your objects, right? This right here, it looks like you just traced like the side view of the gun, extruded out, added a couple of changes, and then beveled everything. It doesn't look interesting. Like, try to hold this gun yourself. It will be impossible. It's like a block. It's literally like holding a freaking block like this, right? So it's not comfortable. Ergonomics are important for any hard surface design, and you need to make sure that that when you're doing that, it looks good. Like this is weird, Sridhar, but this box, this crate right here, is better than the gun, in my opinion, from a design perspective and from an execution perspective, because you have round bevels, you have round forms, changes in silhouette, not just a box. Okay, so I don't love this gun. It's not horrible, but if you can't, I would try doing something that's a little bit more interesting. See, I've been holding this concept for a while here on my desktop. I really want to do it, and I feel like it would like really work to teach you guys exactly what I'm mentioning, like how to make something that's hard surface but looks cool and follows like proper forms and things. I haven't found a way to do it, because I know that YouTube doesn't like guns. So if I try doing it on YouTube, it might not work. So we'll have to see. But this one, it's been sitting here on my desktop for like months now, because I really want to do it and show you some techniques for hard surface modeling, but I don't know how just yet. Anyway, so this one's way better. I like this one. It's a good construction. That's a nice con. The fact that you designed it, it's nice as well. Here's a good one. Does it open? Like, is it modeled so that it can open? Because if you did model this so that it can open it. Like, if you're doing already an animation here, just animate the doors opening. Shouldn't be that hard, especially if you did it properly. Sculpting, perfect, excellent. Excellent modular things right there, perfect. This is what I would probably organize these things a little bit better, but it's fine. Like I understand how you did it. Material connection. Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good project. I don't love the HDRI, to be honest, because it does look a little bit fakeish. But it's fine. I understand it. And then this one. Again, guys. Details. You need to pay attention to details. If I look for abandoned subway, cab, or I don't know how this thing's called. Yeah, something like this. You will find more stuff, guys. Look at this. Look at how much more stuff there is. There's graffiti, paint peeling, wood boards, glass, right? Garbage things. Like, you are always gonna find more, like lamps, signs, posters. So seeing this, it looks very empty. It looks very dark. I can't see what you're doing here. This outside actually looks better than the inside, and you started with the inside like show. Careful with graffiti. Graffiti does not like blurt out like that, so that's another one that's important. So again, attention to detail, guys. You need to be more mindful of where and how you place those details. That will be my advice for you, my friend. Let's go with the next one, because otherwise we're gonna spend we're already 40 minutes in, and I've only done what, like 5? Let's see. That thing will break your fingers when you fire it. Which one, Casey? The one that I show you, or the one that that here Sridhar made? Rohan says, why I can put my portfolio? Because it's closed, my friend. Rohan, the submissions are closed. We opened them. They remain open for the whole month. They were open for over 3 weeks. So we closed them so that we don't get too many submissions and that I can handle them. We will have one more next month. Okay, Rohan? So let's go with this one right here. It says, I hope you're doing well. My name is Bishu Sharma. I'm a 3D artist from India. I deeply admire your work and have been inspired by your journey. As a huge fan of Marvel and DC franchises, I aspire to bring my creations to life with the same magic. I'm working towards becoming one of the best 3D artists in the world, and your feedback would mean a lot to me. If you could kindly review my portfolio and provide any insights, that would be awesome. Let's go. Let's see. Okay. See, this is something that I've seen frequently as well, where you guys are doing renders and I'm not sure where you're doing them and they look very CG, like this one right here. And I think it's because we don't have any depth of field, you're not controlling your saturations properly, so the saturation is all over the place. There's no like atmospheric perspective. That's one of the things, one of the first things that I learned when I was learning about art is this thing called atmospheric perspective. And it's a type of perspective that happens when there's more atmosphere between you and whatever it is you're looking at. So if you guys go outside and you look towards the mountains or the valleys or the desert or wherever you are, you're gonna find this, like things get closer and closer to the color of the sky the further away they are. That's called atmospheric perspective, and that happens even at close distances. Like if you're in a city and you're just like watching a couple of blocks away, you will see things fade a little bit due to pollution and dirt and things like that. There's nothing here, Bishnu. Not only there, in most of the like the environment pieces, like even this one that's very recent, there's absolutely nothing here. This is not gonna work, man. This is just kit bashing, I think, and kit bashing is I have a huge like negative opinion about kit bashing, to be honest. I know it's important, I know it's useful, but unfortunately when I see things like this, you guys might be able to understand why I don't like it. It's noisy. I don't understand what's going on here. The scale of the trees and the house, they don't match. How would they build that house if they cannot get the material over there to build it from all of these rocks right here? You know, like even this one right here, you didn't even rotate them or change something. It's just like repetition or repetition, and it just does not look good, man. So you gotta be very careful on how you approach those sort of things. I think your environments are definitely one of the weakest things here in your portfolio. Some of the assets like this one right here, this is actually really good. Like I see this and this is what makes me a little bit angry, Bishnu. That I see stuff like this and it's like, hey, this is good. He's following proper topology, he's following proper UVs and proper texturing. Like it looks okay. Like I could definitely see that in a game. And then you show me this. It's like, what is this? Like why do you think, and again, I'm not trying to be mean, but why do you think this compares to that very cool gun that you did already, right? This is not at that level. Even the universe or the galaxy out there, we've talked about this before. If you're taking a picture in in Earth or right here in the world, and you're exposing the camera so that it catches the light of the environment, you're not going to see anything on the sky. It's going to be black. If you want to see this, you need to use something called overexposure, right? You expose things for a long time so that you can see all of the nebulae and things, and then everything else in the world gets completely overexposed. So we are missing a lot of very basic like things that I don't understand why we're missing when I see things like this one that look okay. Okay, Bishnu? So be very focused on what you want to do. We have a couple of characters, and my advice for the characters is anatomy. This one definitely looks a little bit better anatomy-wise. Like I know that you know where the muscles are. Now we need to work a little bit more on the proportion and the gesture so that he doesn't look like a doll. Okay, just like an action figure. But yeah, I mean, keep up the good work, man. I can see your ambition in your message, and I totally respect that. But you need to start like focusing and being more. Again, like increasing the quality of your pieces is my best advice. Do we need to upload texture maps in portfolio? It depends. It helps. Sometimes it helps. I don't usually do it because I usually like to upload the Marmoset scene where you can check the maps. But it's not a bad idea. It says, hi, my name is Happy from India and I've been following you for the past 2 years. I recently completed my bachelor's degree in animation and trust me, it was a waste of money and time. Sir, I want to be an environment designer and character artist, but I have no idea where to go and what to do. Should I pursue my career or start working as a freelancer? In India, there is zero scope for animation and most of all the help to give me all the credits and mine, I want to improve. Okay. I mean, okay, I can see a couple of my tutorials here. I wouldn't say it's wasted, guys. Like, I know there's a huge, like, thing about education. Should I pay for a bachelor's and things like that? you're gonna get different results. Like, I went to Noman. I was there for 3 years. I got my certificate and everything, and it helped me tremendously. It was like the biggest like bump in my career, not only because of what I learned there, but also because of the connections that I made there. So school, educational institutions, they're still valuable, but you do need to work for it. You do need to get as much as you can from those experiences. Now, I feel like you have a good grasp of environment. Like, this is good environment right here. I know these are like tutorials that you can find on YouTube, and they're relatively easy to do, but you still like manage to create something that looks nice. Saria here, I feel like the proportions are a little bit off. Her head is too big, her hips are too small, her chest is too big. So we definitely need to work more on the proportions. The hard surface is fine, but yeah, the proportions, man, not great. I like this one. This one looks very cinematic, very interesting. Now, you were asking me, like, do I think you're ready? I think that you still need to show a couple more pieces here in your portfolio that show that you know all of the pipeline. But if you see, and this is something that I did here in Mexico, if you see that there's no animation industry, especially where you are, because I know that there is a big animation industry in India, but maybe in the city where you're at, there's not a lot of stuff. What you can try and do is, why not reach out to local businesses? Why not reach out to friends of yours that are not in the 3D industry and show them what you can do and ask them how you could collaborate? Because, for instance, I see this one right here, and this looks like a perfect background for a logo for like a seafood restaurant. That's it. Like, I can just imagine like the logo right here, and join us, enjoy the tastiest shrimps in all of India or something, and that's it. You sell them as marketing, you sell them as design. So there are ways to make a living with 3D that's not only the entertainment industry. I've mentioned this all the time. So you gotta, but things are not gonna get handed to you. This is I get mad at this, guys, because I feel like lately, and I'm talking about years, this is not recent, this is probably like for the past 6 years, I started seeing this trend where people think that you deserve things. No one deserves anything. I mean, of course there's human rights and things like that, but no one is going to hand you the job that you're dreaming of. Like, it's not like you're going to graduate and then a Disney executive is going to be back there and be like, hey, congratulations, here's your pass directly so that you can work on the next Disney film. That's not going to happen. You need to earn it. And how do you earn it? With hard work, with luck, with connections, with a good portfolio, with knowledge, with creativity. So you need to cultivate those areas to get you the best possible chance at getting to that dream job that you have. Because there's absolutely, guys, there's absolutely no studio out there that's constantly looking for, we need to find the next best student that just graduated today so that we can get him on our team. That's not how it happens. The way it happens is the studio's working on something and they're like, hey, you know what? We probably need a modeler. Yeah, we need one more modeler. Otherwise, we're not going to make our deadline. Okay, look for one. But that's it. So there's a huge sea of modelers out there. And how are you going to like really know this? Good portfolio, good connections. Because again, when someone needs someone at a studio, like if I need someone at my studio and I'm like, hey, I need a modeler, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask the people that are already in the studio, guys, do you know any modeler? That's the first one. So connections, that's why it's important. The second one is, okay, no one knows a modeler, I'm gonna go to my pool of people that I know, my students, you guys here on Discord, people that I've seen portfolios as like, I remember this guy, let me talk to him. Again, connections. And then if I don't find anyone in that second pool, that's when I'm gonna jump into ArtStation. I'm gonna start looking for portfolios and see if I can find someone that fits what I'm looking for. So you guys need to get rid of that sort of feeling or that sort of mindset that things are gonna be handed down to you. If there's no business out there that's gonna hire you directly, that's looking for you, then you need to find a way to be there for the business to notice you, or to be your own business, to create your own proposal to the world. Like, what are you bringing to the artistic world? Why should I hire you? Okay, that's the question that you need to answer. It's not why they should hire me. Like, why should the studio hire me? No, it's the other way around. What am I bringing to the studio that makes me valuable so that they will hire me? Okay, and that's what you need to work on. Like, make things or create and work on the skills that are gonna make you valuable, so that when the studio gets you the opportunity, you have a lot of things to offer, and the studio is gonna be like, damn, yeah, we really need this guy. He has a lot of things to offer. He has a lot of things to bring to the team. That's what you want to be. And then someone was saying here, Hudson, is like, don't just focus on games. Yeah, there's a lot of things in the 3D world that are not just games. I've mentioned it before. I do VR games for museums. That's the work that my studio does most of the time. We have done AR experiences. I've done architectural visualization. I've done 3D printing. There's so much things, so much things that you can do. Okay, so let's go to the next one. We're getting a lot of comments, so I'm missing some of them, guys. I'm sorry. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to finish. Let's see. Okay, so it says, hello there, my name is Brijesh. I'm currently studying the final year of my game design course, and I've been doing 3D art for over a year now. Again, it's just 1 year. 1 year is a tricky situation. I'm trying to apply for internships or part-time jobs and had no luck as a fresher to the industry. I love to create 3D character art and props. Also work with environments. Okay. Well, in this case, as I mentioned, this is a portfolio that I see, and if you only have been doing this for a year, it's actually quite nice. Yeah, I really like this one. It's like a gladiator sci-fi helmet. This was very good. Do we have... Yeah, we have a wireframe. That's great. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, I really have no specific feedback for this. I was going to say metal edgeware, but no, it's fine. Yeah, this is great. This is a good portfolio piece. This one's also quite nice. What are you using for the hair? It seems like you're using hair cards. Okay. They're a little bit glossy. They're a little bit on the glossy side, especially here on the reflection. You can see them. Anatomy could use a little bit more work. Same for the cloth. It looks a little bit flat in certain areas, but again, it's not a bad piece. I guess, or I think, my friend Brijesh, what you're missing here is focus. I'm not sure what type of art you want to do, because I see a lot of hard surface things, which I would say is your strong point right here. And I see some character art that's a little bit unfinished. So this one's unfinished, this one's unfinished, this one's unfinished. So my advice, remove those that are unfinished and keep everything else as hard surface art. And maybe this one, take it out as well. And if you market yourself as a prop hard surface guy, you might be able to land something a little bit easier while you still work on your characters. Okay? So that's the kind of stuff. Yeah, Link, that's a great question, and that's about AI. The reason why I'm not scared of AI taking away jobs is because well, there's two reasons. There's always going to be someone behind the AI, right? Like, the AI is not going to come up with the ideas automatically. There's someone out there that's going to be managing the AI. And second, there's always going to be changes. If there's one thing that I've learned in this 13 years of experience that I have, is that clients are never happy with what they get. They always want to change. Change here, change there, modify this, modify that. So there's always going to be an artist tweaking it. Hopefully, ideally, AI will remove like boring or tedious stages from the process. For instance, I would love to have a button that I click inside of Substance Painter. It exports all of the textures automatically, creates the materials inside of Maya, connects them to the proper geometry, sets up a render scene, and just click render to render. That would be amazing, and if AI can do that, I'm all for that, because that usually takes me like 20 minutes to do, and that will be 20 minutes that I can use to make our textures better, or make the sculpt better, or whatever. But you don't need to be afraid of, of AI to be taking that stuff, because again, there's so many other things that happen on the creative process that AI won't do it. But here is what's going to happen. AI will get rid of all of those artists that are not doing the hard work that they need to stay relevant. So if you only took classes for a couple of months and you think that that's all you need, maybe that was what you needed a couple of years back. I actually remember when I first got my job in 2011, it was a job at the studio here in Mexico. I only had 2 months of experience doing 3D, and they hired me because at that time, as long as you knew how to model a freaking cube in Maya and get it UVs and textures, you were fine. Like, you could learn everything on the job. And I did. But the thing is, nowadays, that doesn't cut it, and AI is going to be raising that bar, so your portfolio should be above what the AI can produce, so that you like stay relevant. And if you're scared of that, well, it's time to get out there and start working more on your skills, because otherwise you are going to be like obsolete. So yeah, BJ, that would be my advice. Focus on the hard surface stuff and polish your anatomy things, or your character things as well. My name is Bishnu. I'm currently pursuing my bachelor's in BA Game Art and Design. I'm trying to break into the game industry as a 3D artist. Let's take a look. Okay, I see some cool stuff again. I really like this tarantula controller. Some of these ones do look a little bit older. My advice would be go back to those and try doing a little bit of a polish, especially on the render side of things. This one looks fun. Like it's very creepy looking, but it's yeah, like the cloth doesn't cut it for me. I think the cloth could be shaded a little bit better, but the character itself, that's pretty cool. Like I could definitely see this in a game cinematic or something. Yeah, that's pretty nice. And this one, I usually don't recommend adding works in progress to your portfolio because sometimes you never finish them, and that's not good. So yeah, just take it out, finish it, and then you upload it. There's no need. If you want to share some works in progress, use Instagram or something. And important on this ones is just make sure to the wireframes. Yeah, there we go. There's a wireframe there. Yeah, that's fine. Yep. Yeah, this is good. One map for the body, one map for the attachments. Yeah, this is perfect. Yeah, Whips on Instagram. Or the Whips channel on our Discord as well, if you want some feedback from the community. Hello, my name is Edward. I'm currently trying to transition from BR military simulation studio job to a game development studio after feeling stagnant in my current job. I love creating 3D assets, but I didn't go deeply into 3D art until I graduated from my interactive media university in 2021. I want to specialize in 3D environments art after repeatedly making props and weapons, but I still don't know where to start. For starters, the studio I'm trying to get into is a keyword studio branch. Is Keywords a studio branch? Any advice? I don't know that studio, but let's take a look at your stuff. Edward. Okay, yeah, I see some cool weapons like this one right here, the Sulun SR410. That one looks fun, and it looks like well made, but I do feel like you have a sort of like low poly version of things, and I understand why, because if you were working in VR, which is what I do as well, we know that the constraints on poly count and things like that are very important. So you might want to start working with ZBrush, I would say, because I don't see ZBrush work right here. I see a lot of modeling, and for environments, especially if you want to give, you know, like this sort of like rocks, a little bit more texture, pillars, and things like that, you definitely will need a little bit of ZBrush. So I think if you learn ZBrush, you could start like learning about how to do those like props for games. Again, columns, walls, rocks. More organic stuff and building on towards that environment sort of thing, because right now this look very modular and they do look a little bit dated, again, sort of like from the PS2 era, like this wood beam right here. Nowadays we don't do this anymore. We don't do this what's the word, this just texture mapping on a square. It's very optimal, again, for VR. I know that, I've done that. But for AAA games, they're usually gonna sculpting. You're gonna be sculpting some like big slabs of wood, and then they're gonna be using bakes and all that process to generate game ready assets. So you might want to look into that, Edward. I think that would be my advice for you. ZBrush. You definitely need to learn ZBrush. Bluebox here says, hello, recent graduate with a game art and development degree, trying to improve my portfolio in order to looking for a job, junior environment artist or prop artist. The portfolio showcases work I did for the Unreal Engine Art Station Game Challenge. Let's take a look. Oh man, Tariq, I want to help you out, man, but this looks very simple. That's the thing, it's not bad, it's just simple, okay? What do I mean by this? I don't see any asset that I could not show any of my students in their first sort of like ZBrush class to do, okay? So like, yeah, this sort of thing, anyone who learns about Maya or Blender can do this in a couple of weeks, right? And what you want to do is you want to show that you can do things that are way more complex. I like the fact that you did nail the style of the assets. Like this wagon right here looks fine. But there are a couple of things here on the wagon that I'm seeing that definitely needs a little bit more work, such as your UV maps. Like if we take a look at the maps right here, I can see a seam line right there. I can see like some weird bending right there. So there's things that we can definitely improve here, man. Again, it's not a bad asset. It's not a bad asset. I could see it on a Fortnite game maybe or something like that. But if we take a look at the whole thing right here, I don't see anything that's like, wow, this is cool, right? Like this is a big asset. This was a big project. Like it gives me the impression that you were going for fast works. And as we've mentioned before throughout this live stream, it's important that we not only focus on that, but we also try to do things that are like impressive. Like again, and this is gonna sound mean. It's not against you. It's against a lot of people that do this on their portfolios. I've seen this portfolio pieces several times, not this exactly once, but this level of portfolio piece, I've seen it like everywhere else. So if I'm looking for someone to do a modeling work, who am I gonna hire? Am I gonna hire you, or am I gonna hire, for instance, was it Bishnu? Yeah, Bishnu right here, right? I'm probably gonna call Bishnu because I see way more complex stuff in Bishnu's portfolio that I see in yours, even in this sort of like stylized stuff. Like this little house that Bishnu did right here looks way more complex than the castle that you did right here, even though they're the same techniques. Do you guys get now what I'm trying to say here? Like, I know Bishnu might know exactly the same amount of skills that you do. He knows how to model, he knows how to UV, he knows how to texture, he knows how to render, and I know you know how to do that as well, okay? But the fact is, I know Bishnu probably spent a little bit more time on this house right here than you did on this little environment right here. That's the difference. And it's not a skill difference, it's a presentation difference. And that's why you need to make sure that your portfolio is as good as it can be. Okay? Here we go. Let's see. Do I know Element G? No, I don't. Who's that, guys? Element G? Element. Yeah, I'm writing it right. I'm not sure who that guy is. Ah, Elemenza. Yeah, of course I know Elemenza. Yeah, of course I know Elemenza. Yeah, so this is hard surface, man. Hard surface design most of the time. Yeah, these are good. He's got a bunch of tutorials as well, and they're quite good. This is something that you would use for film mainly, because the amount of polygons that you have for films or cinematics is quite big. I mean, you could definitely do retopology and get them into a game, but yeah, Laments it's a top guy. Is it okay to have props, models, and portfolio of character arts? They should be 2 separate pages. Yeah, I think it's fine. A lot of people see, Mad Loco, people focus on the wrong things about portfolio. I've gotten questions of, should I include the logos of the softwares or not? Should I include props and characters? Should I include, I don't know, the credits or my name or my signature? That doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's just like little details. It's like the sprinkles on a cake. What matters is the piece itself. Like if you tell me I have 2 kick-ass characters and 2 kick-ass weapons, can I show them at the same time? Yeah, go for it. But if you tell me I have 2 really good characters and 2 shitty weapons, don't show the weapons. That's stupid, right? Same thing. Like if you have amazing works and you're worrying about the little logo, it doesn't really matter. People are gonna look at the amazing artwork and that's it. So you need to focus on the important things, okay? My apologies if this topic causes bad energy. My intention is wondering due to what I'm hearing out here. For me, I will not let this stop me on my progress, however some out there may. My apology. I'm not sure what the question was, Link. But yeah. Edoran says, that was a 10-week project. We had to follow the studio requirements. I also did a lot of design on that area. Okay, I understand, Edoran. And again, I think it's a matter of just making sure that we can push this to the best possible quality. It's just a weird mix of things here, like the textures on the ground, the way things are laid out. Like this looks like a very indie game sort of thing, and I understand that maybe these were the requirements of the client. One thing that you need to do then is, if you don't feel like this is good enough for a portfolio, even if it was client work, don't include it. I have several pages of things that I never included on my portfolio because I'm just not that proud of them, even though they were client work and I got paid and everything. It's just like, nah, I don't think this is gonna add to my portfolio, and I'd rather not have it. It's like this one right here, right? Like, being honest, like this is not gonna caught anyone's attention. That's the reality of things, and it's not a bad asset. It's just that it's such a simple thing, right? So keep that in mind. Samuel says, in the previous portfolio review, when you were exploring my portfolio, you saw a crate where there were only handguns, and I know it's bad for games, but if I triangulate... Yeah, if you triangulate, that's fine. But you need to triangulate them, because you didn't on that portfolio. Says here, hi, my name is Ragav, like to create props and environments. Please check my portfolio. Is good enough for job in gaming industry. Let's take a look. I see some good props, definitely. I really like the leather on this sword. Yeah, this looks nice. I caught you guys. I caught you, Ragav. This is something that I saw being criticized once on a tattoo competition. This right here, Ragav, it's very sort of egotistical, I would say. It's like it just, I don't know how to say it. Tacky is that word, maybe? Like, there's no need for your name to be there, right? Like, we know you're Ragav, we know you made it. You don't need to tell us again here inside of the sword that you did it. If you want to add runes, just add some runes, just generic runes or something like that. Yeah, I did that as well. Everyone does this. Like, you add your little signature. This is not gonna fly, because if you use this on the game and people are like, who the hell is Ragav? Right? So don't do this. Just try to avoid doing this. I saw this on a tattoo competition where someone was tattooing a clock. And they said that every time they tattooed a clock and the client didn't specify an hour to place on the clock, he would always place the hour when he was born. It was like, come on, dude, who do you think you are? Like no one's that freaking famous to have that sort of stuff, right? So, I mean, it's just a small nitpick. Again, it's not gonna kill this piece because it's a really good piece. But I would recommend just, like, don't... it's not necessary. And it might come up as cocky, I think it's the word. What if it's my girlfriend's name? You can try to disguise it, I would say. Like, try to do it in another, like, again, with runes or something, so that people don't know. So don't make it as obvious. It's what I would say. But yeah, everything else looks good, man. I would say textures maybe need a little bit of work on this one, for instance. Like, all of this sort of like plated metal color looks a little too noisy, but modeling wise, it's good. What are you doing the render at? Marmoset. Okay, you might want to try to make the render a little bit nicer. You know, oh, this is too many UDIMs. For games, this is way too much. No, this is not game ready. Okay, this is one critique that you are gonna get, Ragav. This is way too many pieces here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are these all the base colors? My God, 6, 12, 18 maps, dude. Whew. I mean, if they're 1K maps, I could maybe understand it, but this is way too much, man. Way too much for something like this. Okay, so this is not optimized. Definitely not optimized in textures. This is why Call of Duty is 50 gigabytes now. And I see this environment. This is an interesting environment. Okay. See, the interesting question that I get here is, what were you responsible of? Right? Like, were you responsible of the whole CD? Did you download the assets? Like, there's no information. You should always include information. Did you do everything? Because there's a lot of things in here, and if you can do this all by yourself, like if you rigged, animated, post-production particles, and you did everything, that's impressive. That would be, oh, that's cool. But if I don't know what things you did, it's difficult to evaluate. Yeah, we have a UDIMS video on the channel, and that one's I specify when we use these things and why. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is Pratush Gupta. It says, hi, I've seen you my portfolio again. I'm aiming to be a character artist freelancer. If you want to be a character artist, get rid of this environment thing. That will be my first advice. You don't need that one right there. I like this one. I've been thinking about doing a board game for a while. I will definitely do something like this. Yeah, this is fun. I mean, it's a fun little thing, but again, it's environment. So if you say you want to be a character artist, I'm not sure why you're learning things like substance designer and things like that. This is a good weapon as well. See, interestingly, Pratosh, you have a really good like sense of environments and weapons, and I don't think you have the level that might be required for characters just yet. Like the cloth on this character and the textures, they look very wonky. Wireframe is fine for like a mobile game. I like this one, but it's very stylized, right? It reminds me of this reminds me of Little Nightmares, right? Which again, it's a style. This is a style, and this is definitely a character, so I'm not gonna deny that. It's just a different type of character. When people tell me they want to be character artists, I usually picture, you know, realistic characters, like this little goblin right here. This one's fun. I love this one. Well done on this one. I'll probably keep these bakes as separate pieces, to be honest, but that's just my personal recommendation. Yeah, but it's fun. I love the pose. Great pose. If you want to do characters, maybe try a realistic character, or maybe try texturing this character. Oh, it is texture. Okay, simple mistake. If it's already texture, show me the thumbnail of the texture character. There's no need to show me the clay render, because I might think that this is a work in progress. Okay? Yeah, we're reviewing a lot of people from India today. This is Gabrielle Maltese. I'm a 3D environment artist. Oh, I talked to you a couple of days ago, Gabrielle. Yeah, I mean, we've seen your stuff before. Gabrielle shared this one right here. He worked on this one. My feedback was the density of the polygons. Like, it's way too dense. This could be further optimized, like heavily optimized. But that one's cool. And then I talked about this one, the fact that it's just a palm tree. I mean, it's a good palm tree, but it's just a palm tree. So you might want to do a little scene, like a little island or something, to really show it. This one is new, or I didn't saw it last time. Good optimization. See this? Look at this. Look at how many polygons we're using on this back part right here. Very few, because it's flat, so we don't need any. That's the way you optimize. And textures, I really like them. Like, I could definitely see this on a Resident Evil game or something. And then this assets. Now, the assets here, and Gabriel actually contacted me a couple of days ago because he wants to learn a little bit more about environments. Great presentation. The only thing is, maybe try and see if you can do a little bit of ambient occlusion, for instance, here on the elements. Like, that has to do with materials, with shaders, but there's a way to add like dirt using ambient occlusion for the objects, just to like integrate them a little bit better. Also, the light here, it's good, but it's also a little bit boring, so I would probably turn on some lights over here, maybe from the inside of the house or something, just so that you don't have this huge block of shadow on the side. But yeah, this is a very nice work. And this modularity right here, very good. This is how you do it. This is how you create a kit that you can reuse or reutilize and create a bunch of different elements. Okay, that's a little bit random. Is there a bird on the... Oh, there's a bird back there. I would just take this one out, man. You don't need this. I mean, it's a good animation, but it's so small you don't even see it. And this one, same thing. Like, I would probably add a little bit more details and more light somehow. That's the problem with dark scenes. It becomes a little bit difficult to really appreciate all the work that you did. I like this. This is a really nice asset construction right there. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, good stuff, man. And yeah, we're gonna be talking about the next environments that you want to work on. But yeah, that's nice. Let's see. Let's go now with Amith. Says, hello, I'm Amith. I'm a CG art student at Think Tank Training Center, specializing in environment and props for games. I've never done 3D before joining Think Tank, and so far I've been doing 3D for 8 months, 2 terms going into term 3. This is my term 2 final project, which was done on the span of 4 weeks. Pay attention to this. 4 weeks. That's all. That's a good time for a project, for a portfolio project. Let's take a look. Okay. First advice. This is already 7 seconds, and I haven't seen the piece. I'm already bored, and you gotta like make sure that this is way faster. So all of these credit things, you don't need them. Just show me the piece. I don't care. Look at that. It's just 5 seconds just for the Think Tank logo. 5 seconds, that's too much. And then this one right here, another 5 seconds. So it's 10 seconds, and then, oh, dude. And then we go to a freaking like fade out, and then we see the scene. This, when I hit play, this is what I want to see. I don't need to see anything else, okay? I don't need to see. You can say it on the description where you did this or why you did this. I don't need 10 seconds of logos. People are just going to scroll away, okay? So, yeah, okay. This is good. Good shaders, good materials, good light. Nice. Like, those changes in camera, like being able to see something from different perspectives, it's always very useful. Nice. I love the bookshelf. Yeah. This is good, man. This is good. Now, I'm not sure where you're rendering this. Okay, on Unreal Engine. You might want to try and see if you can change some parameters on the glass of the elements. This glass right here is a little bit, looks a little bit fakeish, and also there's a little bit of like general blur. I'm not sure if it fits the depth of field, but you want to sharpen the image a little bit more, and be very careful with gold coins. Gold coins are like a very easy way to tell if someone is paying attention or not, because when you look for gold coins, you're gonna find this reference. This is fake gold. Look at the color and the saturation of real gold. Okay, this is the actual sort of like color that you would expect coins to be. It's a dull yellow. It's kind of like mustard color. So it's very, very important that that you follow this sort of colors for yourself, because otherwise it just looks fake, right? Like these gold coins, they look fake, like the candy ones that they sell. So yeah, there you go. Evolution says, I'm currently a student at Full Sail University and I'm looking for a mentor. I've been doing your course on Skillshare and it has... Yeah, I do mentorships, man. Just send me a message on Discord. I think right now I only have one more slot left. So send me a message and I can give you the info. Okay, let's go to the next one. Do we have more? I'm just gonna like look in your stuff real quick, man. Yeah, and look at that. Like, you do know how gold looks. This is the kind of stuff that always baffles me. It's like, you did this project, you did this sundial thing, and it looks very good. First of all, why is it not here? Like, just add it here. Like, this is a scene where the sundial could be sitting over there, and it will just, like, add to the scene. It would be really cool. And second of all, like, if you already know how gold is supposed to be shaded, why did you miss on this coins right there? Right? So, but yeah, this is a good project. Also, good breakdowns. A wireframe would be amazing, just to see the density of the elements. But good stuff, man. Keep it up. This is Pragati Srivastava. Says, hope you're doing good. My name is Pragati and I'm from India. I'm a 3D character and prop artist with 3 years of experience in the field. Over the past year, I've started learning and focusing specifically on character work. I'm currently working as a freelance artist. I'm eager to improve my skills. Let's take a look. Okay. I can definitely see, again, from a technical side of things, you know the process. Bump might be a little bit too high right there, but you know modeling, texturing, rendering. Even I like the render. The render on this one looks clean, so that's good. Character-wise, we do need to work a little bit more. There's some anatomy issues that we need to fix. Some proportions on the characters. Some of the muscles are not well defined. For you, I mean, we just released the anatomy course, so I would recommend that one. I think that one could be, and we do a superhero as well, so I think that one could be a really, really good help on your understanding of the forms of the anatomy, because even this one right here, it looks wrong. Some of the anatomy things look a little bit wrong. Again, and it's not about the knowledge, guys. A lot of people confuse knowing anatomy by knowing the names of the muscles and things like that. That's just one part of it. It's how you get those into your character, how you sculpt those in the characters so that it looks good, so it looks like proper, right? And yeah, if you're gonna do hand painted, I would recommend doing it with 3D coat, probably. It's a good sculpt. That's the thing. Like, I really like the sculpt, but I feel like the texture is missing a little bit of that like magical hand painted feel. And there's the wireframe. We need to know how many triangles you have, because I can definitely see that we could optimize things a little bit more right there. Hello, Abraham. It's been 10 months since I've submitted my portfolio, and I've added 4 new posts here. Lance Webb says, your last advice for me was to find a concept art and prove that I could recreate a 2D concept in 3D. I'm not getting it. So I think I'm going to scale down my price to take on like 5 weeks. I would recommend me to go. Okay, so getting to the front page of ArtStation is hard, guys. Like, I've never gone to the front page. There we go. So this front page right here, this is literally the best of the best. And you're usually gonna see the big games, the big boys, right? So AAA studios, Baldur's Gate, Dungeons & Dragons, Diablo 4. So it is possible to get your work all the way up here. But again, recruiters are not usually looking at this page. That's important. That's an important thing to know. Why not? Because most of the people that are posting here are already doing a work, right? That they're already working. They're at the studio, and it's very difficult they're gonna be let go because they're like the top of the top. So what you should aim for is to get to the trending page. This is the good page. So if your stuff gets featured here, this is where I look for. Whenever I'm looking for concepts and things to do, I look at the trending page. Because this is where you're going to find people that are not like super well known, people that you might be able to collaborate with, things that are a little bit more unique, a little bit different from what we usually see in AAA games. So this is a good place here to look for stuff. And this is where you want your work to be. The latest page is where everything starts. And unfortunately, you're going to see a lot of like bad stuff in here. Okay, so like, I'm sorry, Michael, but yeah, this is not something that should be on our station. So anytime you upload the work, it's gonna show up here first, and hopefully it should climb up quickly to the trending page. I remember when we did the Oni course, right, David? I think we got to trending like pretty much the same day or something. So this is like, I would say this should be your goal as a junior artist, as a mid-level artist, even as a pro artist, of course, to always be in the trending page. And the community one, again, is the best of the best. Just keep in mind that it's difficult to get here. It's quite difficult. So don't take it the wrong way if you never get there. It's not really a way to measure your work, I would say. Okay, so 4 new things. This revolver looks cool. I like it. Really good textures, really good rendering. Look at this rendering here by Lance. Freaking amazing. Looks like a real gun. This is so good, man. Awesome, awesome, awesome render. Great stuff. And this Old West. This looks very cinematic. I'm not sure it works, because it's very stylized. It's a good shot. I like the hand. Yeah, it's like, I can see you put a lot of attention and a lot of work into this, man. But then the final render, like this one right here, due to the choices that you made on the lights and on the composition, it's very difficult to see what's going on. So my advice would be maybe to try to showcase all of this hard work in a different way. A2X3 says, why, what do you think about copying other people's work? What do you mean, man? What do you mean by copying other people's work? This is good as well, man. I mean, you're getting some nice reactions. 35 likes, 29 like views. It's not bad, man. Again, most of the stuff is gonna get there. Here. Like, even really good stuff. Like, again, if we go to trending here, for instance, I'm gonna find someone or a piece that I like, and you're gonna see how, even though it's on trending, it's not that high up in the, what's the word, in the numbers, right? So for instance, this guy right here. Okay, so 112, 974. So it's not even 1,000 views. Not even 1,000 views. Right? Like this tree right here. Well, this one actually has quite a bit. 6.6k. But not every single piece that you see here on trending will have like millions of views, thousands of views. And that's why, again, you should not... unfortunately, guys, social media, any social media, Instagram, YouTube, ArtStation, it becomes more of a popularity contest. That's how it is. Because I've seen pieces that are freaking amazing and have barely 300 views. So don't use views and likes as your measuring thing to see whether or not your stuff is good. Let's go with Mark Andrew. It's right here. It says, my name is Mark. I've been 3D artist for 11 years and I've been doing 3D since I was 12. Nice. 11 years, that's a lot, man. I first started my 3D journey in 2013 when I discovered Blender. I've always wanted to be a 3D artist. The journey is difficult. My family's not well known financially, so I need the right equipment to practice the craft. The only time I can practice is when I have the money to go to an internet cafe or when I borrow my mom's old laptop when she's not using it. Then I'll go towards PC to have did it. Since then I practice craft, balancing work, school, and 3D is really hard. This year, last January, I decided to take a leap of faith to resign from my job to focus more on 3D. That's really senior of 3 hours for the use of playground games. They taught me a thing and two work off. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting, man, because you mentioned, Mark, that you have been doing 3D for 13 years. But it's not the same thing to be doing or 11 years. It's not the same thing to be doing 3D for that long than it is to be working in the industry. I mean, that ambil is fine, but at the same time, it's a simple asset. The bakes on this sword are a little bit on the low side. See the silhouette right here? This is important, Markin. I'm gonna help you out here. So, when you're doing weapons for games, the most important thing about weapons is that you want to have a clean silhouette or a good silhouette. So, all of these things that I'm sure you sculpted, you should capture them on the silhouette. Otherwise, it looks very boring. It looks like a scarab or something. So you'd probably want to add a couple of extra triangles right there, just on that corners, so that it really pushes outside of the silhouette. Okay, it's gonna be important there because your textures are fine. Like I like the textures. They're balanced, like nice scratches. Yeah, see that? So you did this sort of like round effect here, so that what you want to do on your retopology is you want to like capture that curvature, so that you don't bake it down to this super flat like triangle right there. Certain games will need that optimization, but for your portfolio, you should definitely try to do it with a little bit more intense effect. Yeah, you did that here on the leather. That's better. But on this one, I think you missed a little bit on the sculpture side of things. So you could have sculpted things a little bit nicer there. For you, my friend, and especially since you said that you've been using, or you're using Blender, I would strongly recommend that you get the Blender course that I have. Because that one teaches you everything, sculpting, retopology, and it gives you a AAA asset that you can use inside of Unreal. So you can probably get a little bit more from there. Now, the thing is, Mark, and I hate to be brutally honest here, I don't see, again, like big things on your portfolio. It's just 3 weapons. And you mentioned that you've been doing 3D for 11 years. So if you've been doing 11 years of work, I understand that you don't have a computer until recently. But even here in your message, you mentioned that you got your computer 2022, right? So it's 2 years. It's been 2 years since you afforded a computer to work on better things. And just having 3 weapons in 2 years is a little bit on the low side. And I understand there's work, there's family. I get it, man. I get it. I completely get it. But if you want to get into the industry, especially now that you said that you dropped your job and you're focusing wholly on this thing right here, you gotta rush. You gotta pick up the speed and start doing more stuff, complex stuff, guns, weapons, cars, like sci-fi crates, anything, as I've mentioned, like all of those assets, so that you can prove here in your portfolio that you could be hired for any sort of like 3D artist position and work on the industry. Okay, so it's a little bit on the, like, it's my advice is to pick up the speed, man. Like, especially if you're not working right now. Like, if you're not, and this is the advice that I give everyone. If you're not working right now, or you're a student, your whole focus should be on 3D. Like, use as much time as you can. This is what I did when I was at Noman, and I've mentioned this before. We had classes every day. Sometimes we had classes on Sundays. And I assure you guys, and you can ask my peers there, I was working on 3D at least 10 hours every single day for 3 years. Okay, you make the freaking count, right? Like, if you calculate how much time that is, that's 10 times 7 times 52 times 3. So in my time at Noman, I got close, like if you remove vacations and stuff like that, to the 10,000 hours that you need. And I know I was fortunate enough to have the support of my family, my parents, and everyone, that I could just focus on 3D. But I made the best use of my time. Okay, and I see a lot of people that are like, yeah, I'm not working right now, I'm not doing anything, and I'm doing 1 hour of 3D a day. Dude, there's someone out there that's doing 10 hours, and he's gonna beat you. So you need to do every single day, as much as you can. And if you can only do an hour, that's fine, but make sure it counts. Make sure to do a lot of stuff. Make sure to learn as many things as you can. Because I know everyone's different, and I've talked about this before. You should not compare yourself to other people. What I'm saying is the competition is fierce, so make sure you use your time in the best possible way. Okay, guys? Oh, Nishank, that's a tough one. If you already rigged the character and you want to create automatic symmetry, it's not going to be possible, man. I mean, it should be possible somehow, but it's definitely going to be complex. Okay, this is Cohen. I've been self-studying for the past 2 years. It started off as following my passion, but now rent is due. I would love to start working in any job that's possible, and a portfolio review and advice will be much appreciated. Let's take a look. Okay, so I'm seeing creatures and character. This one, man, I don't think you like. It's two different things. Okay, so particles and BFX is it's another thing. Like if you want to learn about this to do it on your own, go for it. But it's very different than doing characters. As for characters, we're definitely missing some anatomy stuff, man. Like I see a lot of details on the hands and on the face that we need to fix. Again, I would recommend maybe the ZBrush course. I'm not sure if you're using ZBrush. It says here you are. Yeah, because I definitely see things that needs to be improved. It seems like you know the pipeline. It's polished that we're looking for. This dragon looks very cool, man. But I don't understand what you did here. Modeling, rigging, and animating. Okay, so you model the dragon. Oh, okay, I can see it now. Yeah, I was like not looking at it clearly. It looks very low polish. Animation is also a little bit on the... What happened here, man? Oh, man. Okay. Cohen. And this is... Oh, man. I feel like I'm being so mean today. I'm sorry, guys. I need to be honest. The problem here, Cohen, is that you mentioned it on your message that you're self-taught, right? And I respect that, because I'm self-taught in a lot of things as well. But that's where it's very important to also have some sort of guidance. That's where tutorials come in place. And I know, and that's unfortunately one of the problems with tutorials, that you don't know whether the person that's teaching the tutorial is part of the industry or has worked on the industry and knows how things work. And it might be someone just like telling you to do it in a specific way. The sculpting that you did here is good. It's a good dragon. Of course, there's a couple of things and details that we could fix, but it's a good dragon. But then the retopology that you did, this is not good retopology because it's very low poly. And at some point during the texturing phase, you forgot to smoothen the normals. So now it looks very blocky. It looks like a PlayStation 1 dragon or something. So I see that you baked the thing and you rigged it and you animated it, which again, it's very, very commendable. But then, like, this is again where there's this sort of like dissonance between the elements. Like, why would you go so low poly if you were gonna use 32 UDIMs right here? Like, it makes no sense. Like, if you're using UDIMs, then that means that you want to have the best possible quality, which means that you're probably going to be using displacement maps, not just normal maps. And that means that the rendering is going to be, like, way, way better, and it's not. So, my advice is focus or try to grab some guidelines, okay? Like, if you want a session with me, I'll be happy to give you the information. If you want to check my courses, I teach... That's why, and I'm... sorry to say this, but that's why my courses I think are good, because I'm not teaching you only the tools, I'm teaching you the why we do things. I'm teaching you the process, the workflows. And that I think is way more valuable than the tools. You can learn about the tools for free on YouTube, but the why and the pipeline things that you're going to be using on a project are very, very important to be part of the industry, okay? And I feel like that's where you might be going a little bit into the forest here, because I see that you understand the general things that we need to go through, but we're not following the proper pipelines and the proper processes. Because again, like, this looks good. Like, I like it. It looks like from World of Warcraft or something. It looks interesting, and the sculpt is good. Like, you're actually a good sculptor, Cohen. But then I see this thing right here, like this render, and it looks very bad. So there's something missing there. A couple of steps that you need to polish and to really like figure out how to get the best of to get a good result, okay? Hope that helps, man. Adding DOMs, it varies a lot. I've mentioned this before. For instance, if you're doing a game... Let me go here. Warhammer Total War. Like, if you're doing a game from Warhammer Total War, right? And you're gonna have hundreds of units on screen, then you're probably gonna have characters with 10,000 triangles, and that's gonna be your budget. Because you gotta optimize a lot, because there's gonna be a lot of units, and all of this are rigged, and all of this are animating at the same time, so it becomes tricky, right? So 10,000 triangles is probably something that you're gonna look for, something like this. If you're going for a game like Overwatch, right? You're gonna have characters between 20,000 triangles, 30,000 triangles, maybe all the way to 50,000 triangles, depending on how much complexity there is. For instance, Tracer, it's probably around 20,000 triangles, I think. I think I saw her mesh once. Diva is probably like at the 50k triangles because of the change and radical changes in silhouette. And then if you're going for like a God of War project, right? You're gonna go all the way to 1k, 100k triangles, 150k triangles, because you're also dealing with hair, you're dealing with other things, particles, like very complex meshes. So it changes, right? It definitely changes. But that's, I would say, like the three main things. Like if you have a bunch of characters, little triangles. If you have very few characters on screen, more triangles. Yeah, so Emil, if you are getting normal issues on the mesh, that's because you're probably working with 90-degree angles. So if you have a 90-degree angle and then you do the low poly on top, this corner is very complicated. Even if the high poly is beveled nicely and then the low poly is like this, right? Like this corner is going to be problematic. My advice, always add at least a bevel to the low poly. Yes, it will increase poly count a little bit, but it will give you a cleaner bake. So that way this face right here will properly capture this corner right there. So it's usually a matter of adding just one extra little bevel on that part. Because a 90 degree angles are the bane of normal maps. They hate 90-degree angles. Okay, let's go with Archer here. It says, my name is Archer and I've been doing 3D for roughly 2 years now. I recently started doing characters in hopes that in the future I can become a character artist at a studio. Let's take a look. Okay, good. Yeah, again, simple assets, take them out, you don't need them, focus on more characters. Female character, male character, monster character. Again, usually a good way to start. This is good, I like it. I think the skin could definitely use a little bit more work in some of the materials, but in general, I really like the layers that we have. See, we've been talking about this, right guys? Like layers. So it's not just one thing baked into the whole element. It's a little bit on the heavy side. I think like we could optimize, especially on this character. He doesn't have a lot of details, so it's not really required to have that many triangles. 70k, it's a little bit on the high side, but again, understandable. So that one's good. You'll be surprised on how less faces you can use by doing this. Surprise? You mean the bevel thing that I mentioned? This one's again, it's getting there. There's some proportion issues. The arms are way too long. Especially the upper arm, like the shoulders are way too like down. But the materials are okay-ish. Cloth could definitely use a little bit of improvement. You might want to check the marble scores as well. It's not bad. Maybe yeah, I think it's the proportions. It's definitely on the heavy side on the poly count, so careful there. Yeah, exactly. What do you mean, blooders? The portfolio review? No, we cover everything or everyone. The hair cards need more work as well, man. Like you always need to have a little bit of taper. Is it good to put a character piece in your portfolio, even though it's a practice from an online course, as long as it was well done, of course? If it's really well done, yes. But and I've shown this before, right? Like a lot of people when they take my courses, they will upload their results, and I'm always, of course, honored to see them. Some of them are really good. Some of them are not that good. So you gotta be careful on how you do it. Right? For instance, this one right here. Creator Ashish. I think he did a great job. I think he nailed the proportions. Anatomy looks good. The character looks good. Now, here's the problem. Anytime you upload something that was done for a course, you're always going to be compared to that course. So people are going to look for, okay, he learned from Abe. They're going to look for my portfolio, and they're going to start comparing things. And he might have done things that were better on his version, and I might have done things that were better on my version. But the thing is, and this is I called it the Coca-Cola effect. I was first. I was the first one to do this because I did the portfolio. Coca-Cola was the first one to invent it. So Pepsi is always going to be number 2. Even if Pepsi is better or not, that's of course debatable. Coca-Cola did it first. So being first is always important. Now, what I'm showing you guys here is that someone did this on the workshop. This one right here. So Anatoly, he got the axe course and he did this. And it was like, this is great. This is what I mean when I tell you guys to pick a portfolio or a tutorial and get the information from the tutorial and then transform it into something that's yours. Because now he's not competing with my axe. It's its own creation. So he properly did what he was supposed to do with the tutorial. He learned the pipeline, he learned the tools, and he created a piece that's original enough that he's not going to be compared to the original portfolio or the original piece. Texture course is great so far, by the way, highly recommended. Thanks, man. Thank you for the recommendation. Yeah, of course. But that's the thing. Like, if you're only following your portfolio to learn the workflow, then don't add it to your. Or sorry, if you're only following a tutorial to learn the workflow, don't add it to your portfolio. There's no need. You were using it to learn the workflow. If you want to create a piece for your portfolio with that workflow, then take what you learned from the tutorial and transfer it into something more special. Thank you. There we go. So that was Cohen, right? Yeah, Archer. Okay, let's go with Avery. Says, hello, I've been a watcher for a long time. You helped my art so much. Just want to say thank you for that. You are welcome. For my portfolio, I've decided to move away from the games industry at the moment, but if you could still look at my character, that would be great. I would love some hard critiques on things I can improve with sculpting in ZBrush. Let's take a look. Okay, I just see one piece though. Okay, oh, this is a really good concept. Okay, I'm gonna help you out here, my friend, here. This is what my teacher used to do when we were at school. He would pick your character and your concept, and he will start, like, pointing out all of the things that you got wrong. All of the mistakes that you had. So, proportions, right? Like, if we take a look at the boxy, sort of like look of the head, you went for a more elongated sort of like face. The distance that we have, for instance, from the eyes to the nose is different than what we have right here. Even the little bulges, like the anatomy that we have there on the inside, it's different. The heavy sort of like eyebrow that we have right here, we're missing it over here. Okay, so those are things that we're missing. You're missing this chains. He has kind of like chains going from the top of his head to some like bottom part. You're missing them. Why? Did you forgot to see them, or were they too complex? Both of them are valid reasons, but you always need to look for those things and try to incorporate them. The shape of the belt is different. Like the width that we have right here, again, is different than the width that we have right here. And I can see it on the negative shapes. When you take a look at this negative shape right here, it's not the same negative shape that we have right here. So all of those details matter. You went for a scaly skin. I don't see him having a scaly skin. You're missing a little bit of muscle here on the outside to make the arm a little bit stronger. Same for the fingers. Look at the fingers. The fingers are really bulbous and big. Yours are a little bit thinner. I don't expect all of the wrinkles to be exactly the same, so that's fine. Check the width of the wrist. See how this is a very big wrist right there. Same for the spiky things over here. But yeah, in general, I think you captured the essence of the character. It's just like those little things that you should always try to get or to nail down. Is there any chance for me to get into the industry if I made a couple more of these characters? Again, as we talked about before, character positions are tough because there's very few positions for character artists. But it is possible. Get connections, luck, opportunities. I don't know where you live, so all of those things could definitely play an important part on getting a job. But you do have all of the, I would say, necessary things, which is sculpting, modeling. Your retopology looks good. Yeah, so from a technical perspective or from a technical point of view, I think you're in the right spot. We definitely need to see a little bit more characters. You know, traditional male character, female character, maybe some hard surface armor, things like that, to really push you to the next level. I can see you also take antihistamines. Yeah, I buy fexofenadina. It's the Allegra. Have you guys heard about that one? It's the medicine. It's this one right here. For allergies. I haven't had allergies in a while, but every now and then when I'm recording or doing this reviews, I get a sneezing attack. Says, hi, I'm Madia. I've been a 3D hobbyist since the coronavirus quarantine and originally a business student. I want to thank you for all the knowledge you're sharing with us, as it has helped me enormously in my journey. Thank you so much, Abe, and everyone involved. Recently, I decided to become a professional and specialist in character art for video games, especially fantasy characters. I started applying to some studios, but I would still appreciate some feedback to know which direction I should go. Let's take a look. Anatomy and ZBrush, man. We need to practice that a little bit more, because we're a little bit on the uncanny valley side of things. Again, I can see that you know the process because you are showing wireframes and renders and things like that, but it's just the style. It reminds me a lot of like the Fable style from like the first game, this very cartoonish sort of thing. It's a little bit on the uncanny valley side of things. So you definitely wanna improve or work a little bit more on that. Also on your texture variation. Textures right now, they look a little bit too uniform, especially on the roughness. Yeah, look at this roughness. That's a very, very like uniform roughness on the character. So my advice, maybe the anatomy course or even the Oni course, I think could really help you out. Because yeah, we definitely need to improve a lot of the shapes, like here. And this is a very common thing, guys. Very, very common thing that I see. I know, because it's obvious, so obvious, that this pants, this belt, this bracer, this chest piece, all of this were extruded from the original mesh of the character. There's no other way around it. There's no other way to get this perfect curvature right here unless you extruded it from the original mesh. And that's not how you do it. You should model it as its own little piece, okay? You need to be wary of that. Like, I understand you added a hole right there. Where are the other holes? Right? And belts don't look like this. They look straight. Arms. Anatomy for the arms. You're missing very important muscles right there. Remember, guys, it's deltoid, right? And then there's the bicep right here. There's the tricep on the back. And then there's the brachioradialis, flexors, and extensors. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's sort of like effect. What we want to see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're not seeing it. It's like all over the place. So that's anatomy knowledge that you need to master at some point. The ever or the event. There you go. Yeah, bevel on the belt as well. Yeah. And anatomy is hard. Yeah, it's definitely hard. So it will take some time. Just be patient. And as I mentioned before, just one step at a time. My name is Reyes. I've been the follower of your channel for a few months now. I really appreciate the valuable insights you bring to the art community, and that's why I joined your Discord server after seeing the announcement during your live stream. As a self-taught artist who picked up 3D during the pandemic, it seems like a lot of people picked up 3D during the pandemic. I'm primarily exploring different areas and finding myself drawn to characters and weapon design, as you can see in my portfolio. I will be incredibly grateful if you could consider providing feedback. Welcome, Blooders! No soy Lotus, did I forgot to give you your shout-out? Sorry. Thanks for the sub. Let's take a look. Yeah, I think did I see yours? I think you sent me. This one's fun. Texturing needs a little bit more work to look a little bit more realistic, but the modeling is fine. And we definitely need to optimize this a little bit more. Evil Elf Warrior. That's fun. This kind of stuff, I don't like. I feel like this makes things look a little bit unprofessional. Like, unless you are... Who's the creator of Rick and Morty? Not the guy that got kicked out, but the other one. I don't know. But unless you're like a comedian, like, there's no need to add that sort of stuff. Like, it can make you look a little bit unprofessional. That's a really cool concept. I don't think we really nailed it, to be honest. Like, I feel like we're still missing a couple of things. You're close, though. But we definitely need to see the texture. Dan Harmon, yeah, unless you're Dan Harmon, like, this sort of, like, funny jokes, they're really not adding anything to your stuff. Yeah, it's a cool concept. Again, it's a really good modeling. Like, you have a really clean modeling for the hard surface stuff. But it would be interesting to see it, like, textured and rigged, right? So it can move. Because otherwise... A lot of people do this where they would create really complex characters, but they're not functional. Like, how are you gonna move this in game? How are you gonna move all of those like cables there on the inside of the leg? Like, is this gonna be your low poly, or is this going to be baked down? Like, all of those questions you need to answer. Because if it's for games and that's a high quality, okay, that's cool. But again, it's a work in progress. If it's a work in progress, there's no need for it to be there. And I would just take this one out. I mean, it's a fun little monster, but just unless you want to finish it with like hand-painted stuff and things like that, there's really no need for it to be here, to be honest. Go to the next one. Says, hello, I'm a new 4th-year interior design student. There you go. This is what I talked about, guys. Like, there's a lot of work out there, not only characters. I was introduced to 3D modeling and visualization programs about 2 years ago. Currently, my portfolio doesn't include many game assets, but I do have some products visualizations. I look forward to hearing your feedback. By the way, thank you for the educational videos and live streams. They've been very useful. You are welcome. Yeah, this is a great chair. It's a fun chair. I'd love to have one of this here in my studio. Yeah, this is good, man. I mean, this is more for, again, product design and, yeah, finally not game related, right? This is more for product rendering, but this is great. And you guys would not believe how much people pay for this sort of stuff. Like this one right here, I could easily charge at least $500 for this render. $500. Easy. Because they're going to be selling this for, I don't know, thousands. So, this is good, man. This is great. I'm going to be brutally honest with you, my friend. What's your name? Kadir. If you don't have the need to jump into the game industry and you're making good money with this product visualization things, stay there. And do games as a hobby, as an indie artist. Because I love our industry. I love the entertainment industry. It's super fun. It's full of passionate people. But unfortunately, the money is not really there. You're going to enjoy what you do a lot. You're going to make good money. Like, you're not going to leave on the streets or anything. But I've seen people make bank. Like, a lot of money doing things that are not game related. Like 3D printing. Like advertisement. Like, what's this? Like architectural visualization. Like, there's a lot of things out there that use the same 3D tools that we use in the game industry. And they're making a lot of money. But they just don't get that sort of like fame of like, oh yeah, I worked on God of War or on the next Call of Duty or whatever. So, as Hudson says here, like keep your mind open. Keep your mind open. There's a lot of things out there. Yeah, it's definitely the closer to minimum wage to start. And also, as Davis says, it's not a good moment right now. Yeah, the industry, definitely. As a 3D advertising beginner, which software first of all to learn? See, normally I don't recommend this one, but if you want to get into like motion graphics and things like that, Cinema 4D is actually really, really good. But to be honest, any type of work, like or any type of rendering engine, again, if you master Arnold or Cycles, and you can just get like some really nice shots of your products, that's all you need. I would definitely recommend knowing ZBrush, because there will be things like this, like couch right here, that you definitely want to sculpt a couple of things organically. But most of the stuff is going to be material and rendering. So yeah, nice job there, Kadir. Hi boss, I'm sharing my portfolio. I'll be honest with you, I want to be part of famous companies like Disney, Rockstar Games, DreamWorks Studios, and more. So I just want to know if my portfolio and skills are enough for entry level, or if not, tell me your honest opinion on my work and how I can improve my skills. Thanks a lot. Let's take a look. I feel like I've seen yours before because I remember this scene, I think. Dude, I'm gonna go nuts. Like I'm just gonna go crazy with you, man. Navkarnan, you have an amazing freaking, like, thumbnail here. Where is it? Why is it not here? Like, I want to see this. I don't care about this syringe or this unfinished work car. I want to see that. Where is it? I don't understand this, guys. Like, why would you put something here and not in your portfolio? It's just such a simple thing. Such a simple thing. Good stuff, man. You got good textures. That's a great Udemy thing. I think you have the necessary skills. Like, I've seen some of my peers being hired at some like big studios with props like this and assets like this. Again, I want to see that. Like, show me that one. That's such a good concept and such a good light and everything. And I'm not seeing the full thing down here. Wireframes. We're missing some wireframes maybe. But yeah, I think you got... If you show me that, I could be more like specific about whether or not I think you can get there. But I mean, if you just compare like How to Train Your Dragon environment to yours, you're not that far off. Like hall. Yeah, look at this. Where is it? Is this from the movie? No, that's the concept art. But yeah, if you take if you look at the movie, I don't have a shot right now. There we go. Like the quality of the assets that I see here are very close to what I'm seeing here. Like I could definitely see some of these assets inside of the How to Train Your Dragon movie. So from a skill perspective, I think you're in a good position. But you need to show that one. You need to show that one. La edad influye si quiero ingresar al mundo 3D. Tengo 40. It can matter a little bit, Auberon, but not necessarily. It's a tricky question. Here's the thing. If I'm hiring someone, right? I'm a studio, and unfortunately, most studios are greedy. But not greedy. They just want to make as much money as possible with as little investment as possible, right? So the thing about age is that I know that's going to be cheaper for me to hire someone who's just fresh out of school, because he probably is not married, he probably doesn't have kids, and he's just starting, so he's going to take whatever I offer to him to get into the industry. If I go for someone that's older, he probably has a family, so he's not going to accept a lower paying wage than he already has in some other job. He probably has other projects in mind. He has more talent that he could easily jump to another place. So talent retention at that point also becomes a little bit complicated. So the older you get, I would say maybe the more sacrifices you're going to have to do. So if you really want to go into the industry and you're already a very successful lawyer, then your pay is definitely going to be cut like heavily on that first jump. And as you get like higher and higher in the ranks, you might get closer to what you were making. Maybe. What's my advice? If you're older and you don't have the need to jump into the industry, like you're already well established in whatever job you're doing, what you can try to do is try to find a way to reduce the amount of hours that you're doing on whatever job you have, and try to start your own stuff, like your own little game, your own little like 3D printing thing, your statues, or like something that's going to be your hobby. And if you see that you are getting really good at that and you got a shot at getting a higher paying job in the industry, then you make the jump. Because unfortunately, since the industry that we're working is a very passion driven industry, a lot of people are willing to take a low paying wage just to say that they are working on the industry. And that, to me, I feel like that shouldn't be the case, because then the people that are not artists, that's my problem here. The people that are not artists, the people that are the investors, the board members, people that only care about the money, they see you as like just a piece to use so that they can get to their goals. And yes, you feel awesome because you're working at a very good studio or a really big studio, but then they're really not taking you seriously as a person or as a human being, as an artist. They're just seeing you as a tool. Not every studio does this, by the way. But there are some out there that treat their employees really, really bad. And you heard them about in the news. So you always have to be very honest with yourself and really check if that's something that you're willing to go through. And I'm not the only streamer that has said this. You guys know Pirate Software. He has said this before. It's like, hey, the AAA industry, it has some very, very cool shit, but it also has some very, very shitty things. So you need to always value what you're willing to give away. Your time, your mental health, your family, like things like that. Like, how much are you willing to sacrifice to get to the goal that you want? And find the point where you're like, this is how much I want to sacrifice, and this is how much I expect to get from it, right? From that sacrifice. And if it matches, that's perfect. That's the perfect point to be in. But if you start seeing that you need to sacrifice way, way, way more than you're willing to do, then might be worth it to check and see where other things are, like what other opportunities are out there, like we were mentioning here with the furniture, right? Like maybe you're super passionate about being a character artist, but you see what you need to do to get there. You're like, okay, you know what? Maybe I will do architectural visualization as my day job, and then when I come back at home to my computer, I'll do my characters for myself. And maybe later I'll get the chance to work at the game. But if not, I'm making a good living, I'm making what I love, and just keep moving forward. And that's fine. Yeah, and Scott, that's fine. That's fine. It's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. we remember that success is a subjective thing. Everyone has a different view of success, and I get this question a lot. I've talked about with David as well, because people ask me, why didn't you stay in the United States and work in the industry, like in AAA games, and they don't believe me when I say I didn't want to. I had the opportunity. I got to interviews. I got like well ahead in the interview process. I know that if I pushed a little bit more, I would have been able to get there and work at the industry. But at that point, I made myself a question, or I asked myself a question, like, hey, do you really want this? Do you really want to be in a different country, not close to your friends or family, doing this? And the answer for me, this is very important, for me was, no, I don't think I really want to do this. And that's why I came back. I came back to Mexico. I started my own little studio. I got this project now. I met my wife. I have a kid now. So at the end, everything worked out for me. For my perspective, my decision of again, being able to manage how much I was willing to sacrifice and how much I was willing to, like, not sacrifice, that's what gave me my current situation. And I feel like we get, like, indoctrinated too much about the fact that you need to be in a top 3D studio to be a true artist. Fuck that. That's not true. A true artist is someone who enjoys what he does, who produces things that he likes, and who can make a living out of it. That's it. There's tons of artists that will never get the chance to work at the top industries, and that's fine. There's tons of artists that are going to be doing advertisement, again, architectural visualization, product design. It's fine. There's no competition here, guys. Like, as long as you're happy, that's fine. That's all you need to do, okay? Now, if you want to do that, if you really, really, really want to work at that, those top 3D studios, that's fine as well. But you got to understand that the sacrifice and the effort that you're going to have to do is different than to someone who only wants to do 3D printing for himself and have a little Patreon and get some like commissions that way. Again, all of those things are fine. What I want to do with this project, and this is something that was very clear with David when we started this, is like, I just want to give people the tools. I want to share what I know, and if those tools help you get to the 3D studios, awesome. If those tools help you to make your little D&D miniatures for your weekend games with your friends, awesome. If the tools that they teach you help you to do product design, like our good friend Kadir here, awesome. Because that's my goal. My goal is just to share the tools, and you are the one who's going to find, or who's going to need to find, how you're going to use these tools and what is the goal and the success that you want to achieve. What is success for you? It's a very philosophical question, but you need to find that answer for yourself. And don't let, this is very important, guys, and it takes a while to get to this point, but don't let anyone tell you that your definition of success is wrong. That's the worst mistake you can do, because you're going to be living a life that you're going to regret later. So you make your own definition of success and you pursue that success. That's the important thing. Okay? There you go. So, yeah, and this applies, yeah, as Christian is saying there, this applies to every single industry out there. It's not only for our industry, but it's very important that you understand that it is your choice to pick what success is for you and to pursue that success. Says, don't forget the furry ones. You can plan your retirement with that. Yeah, again, no judgment there, guys. Like, absolutely no judgment. I follow a guy. I'm not gonna say his name to protect any, like, because I know people can get mean sometimes. But I follow a guy who's a Mexican comic book artist, and I admire his passion so much because the Mexican comic industry sucks. We have like a whole, like, the comic book industry is in shambles already, but seeing his passion, and he has his own comic book, he has his own publishing brand, like he does a lot of stuff for the comic book industry as well here in Mexico, and that's very, like, he has my full admiration because of that, because I know, and I think he knows that he's never gonna be as famous as Marvel or DC, right? But he still doesn't, because for him, success is just doing what he loves to do, and that to me is, I think, one of the secrets of what we do as artists. Yeah, we'll do a short about that. I need to bring it down because unfortunately shorts are only 1 minute, and that was like, what, 5 minutes or something. But we're definitely going to talk about that, like success as your own definition. Yeah, you're welcome, guys. And I have a very, I don't talk about my personal philosophy too much, but I have a very not nihilistic. I'm not sure if it's like stoic or nihilistic. I just think that at the end of the day, nothing's gonna matter in the grand scheme of things, right? Like in 5,000 years, no one's gonna remember us. So we only have this life. Let's make the best of it. Let's do what you want. Fight for that bread, and as Lord Tellum says here, just do your best. Learn as much as you can. Have fun. Enjoy. That's the secret. That's the secret right there. Let's go with Shirley and Shireen. And Charlene here says, a few years back I started to learn 3D modeling. I just want to know that my portfolio is enough to place in top companies. If not, tell me what to improve. Well, honestly, not the top companies. There's still a couple of things that could be improved. Rendering especially, I think most of your renders right now are a little bit on the dull side of things. Like, I don't see a lot of contrast between lights and shadows. So it's very, very important that that you work a little bit more on that. From a modeling perspective, I think you already have a good grasp on modeling. I really like this Pinocchio. It's very, very good, very nice sculpt. We need to work on more ambitious projects, I would say, Charlene, because most of these projects are, again, relatively simple, sort of like exercise projects. You want to work on something that's a little bit more ambitious. How would you, for instance, this one right here, how could we do a project for this drill that shows it within the context of a product that we could sell, right? Maybe we can model the whole garage, like the whole work table, so that you can see multiple pieces. Maybe you could do an animation with particles and things like that. Like, it's always important, guys, that you think, and now we're going back into the topic about like the industry. Whenever you're preparing something, you should always try to see how can you use that something to sell something. Because at the end of the day, this is an economy, right? So anytime you create a product or a piece or a portfolio piece, how could these be used as part of a product? Is it going to be a product render? Is it going to be part of a cinematic? Is it going to be part of a game? And if you can show that you know how to get something into a product that makes it valuable and sellable, that gives you like extra points as part of the industry. Yeah, I love the quote that Jiminy Cricket has this on the last Pinocchio thing, the Del Toro one, as Hudson is saying, and he says something like, doing your best is the best you can do, and that's all. What's this exact phrase? Del Toro Cricket quote. Where is it? Oh, it's not here. But yeah, there's a quote that's this one. You must try your best, and that's the best anybody can do. That's it. That's pretty much it. I agree with don't let someone tell you your form of success is wrong. I had a close friend constantly tell me my ideas wouldn't get me very far, and I could only find success through his ideas and mentorship. I had to break myself from being around him. Yeah. Starting doing what I thought was best, and 3 months later, I've improved so much as a person, as a nurse, and yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the secret. One of the secrets to life. Follow what you like. Okay, it's definitely a secret to life. Like, follow what your heart tells you, but you should also be humble enough to receive like feedback and tips from other people, right? Like, you don't see this too much, but I have my own sort of like mentors, and I have the people that I look towards, and I ask for like ideas and feedback and things on the project, on my stuff. Because I also need to learn. Like, I'm always learning as well. Always learning, always improving. So you do need to follow the passion or your own sort of like definition of success, but be mindful of what other people are saying around you. Because if a lot of people are screaming, it's just like, dude, no, not that way, not that way. That could be for a reason, right? And you need to be humble enough to accept that sort of feedback. Let's go with Aykut. Eki says, hi, I'm Aykut, a digital game design student currently studying at Istanbul. My goal is to become an independent game designer. I would like to be a 3D generalist at a skill level. Making 3D games is my passion. Let's take a look. Okay, I see a couple of good assets. I see the axe right there, of course, from our course. I like these barrels. This is a really good... no, Aykut! Dude! You're the guy. Aykut. Well, I'm gonna say something. I recognize that now you're communicating a little bit more. That's good. I'm gonna give you my feedback again, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why this is not a good thing to have. This thing that you added here as a stencil Not a good idea, man. The barrels look really good. It's a really good barrel. There's no need to add this. I'm not sure why you added that. Maybe you thought it was funny. It's not funny. I'm telling you now. I don't think it's funny. A lot of people in the chat don't think it's funny. And I just want to try and help you, man. Okay, so you need, similar to what I was just saying, I'm trying to give you my feedback. This one's good. This one's it's a good scene. I like the modeling, this turbine. You might want to increase the samples, though. Hopefully you don't show like some weird stuff there. Oh, yeah, this is good, man. So if you want your portfolio to look professional, you need to start making professional decisions. Remove that decal. Literally, just remove that decal and your barrels are fine. I would even keep them. I normally tell people to not have barrels on their scenes because they're very simple. Yours look very good. Just remove that decal and do a little bit of cleanup here on your portfolio. You know which pieces are not good, right? Like, we know this one's not good, man. Not even in resolution is it good. So remove the pieces that are not good and be better. You can be way, way better there. I just got my degree in digital art, and the best advice I can give to every current student is to spend all the time you can on learning and improving outside your school project. Yeah, school is very important to teach you, again, like the tools and things like that. But there's a lot of work that you need to do as a person, as a human. Again, networking, working on yourself. This is something that I don't mention frequently, but unfortunately I have seen it quite a bit, especially in-person like interviews and feedbacks that I've gotten. Your presentation is important. Like, I definitely need to groom my beard soon because it's getting a lot, like, very messy. How you look, how you present yourself is important because people will work with you side by side. So if you're all messy, if you smell and things like that, it's not helping. Okay, and I know there's a very famous like meme here in Mexico where they say that people that play like card games like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh and things like that, they're always like people that you really don't want to be close to because they smell. And unfortunately, that's a very like common thing that I've seen. There's a hobby store in close to here that I like to go to, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people that they really don't take care. No, I'm not gonna show my desk. My desk is a mess right now because of that. Well, it's not completely a mess, but I got like an empty Coke bottle and some popcorn that I ate yesterday. But yeah, that's my point. Like, you need to like keep things. It's not only your art skills that are important, your personal skills, your mental skills, the way you present yourself, the way you talk to yourself, all of those things add up to who you are as an artist and how employable you are. Yeah, I'm going to the gym now, guys. Did you know that? I'm going to the gym. After a huge break, I'm back to the gym. And I'm not eating as much sugar because I definitely need to lose some pounds there. I rewatched the BOD. Thanks for the feedback. I think you're right about the gold coins were a last minute piece. I could make them. Yeah, it's just a matter of changing the what's the word? The shader, man. Should be an easy fix. What was the last thing that you learned? I'm currently working on learning a little bit about effects. So I'm doing a little bit of this Embergen thing on my own, on my own time. Writing. I'm learning about writing quite a bit. I'm learning about some like procedural generators, and I've been really thinking about downloading Houdini to start learning about it because I've seen some very, very cool stuff that's coming up. So yeah. Let's see. You should try out Houdini for effects. Yeah. That's why I'm really trying to do that. Exactly, Davis. No one's gonna be working with a jerk. I've seen people with amazing portfolios, and they were such dicks. Like, dude, like, oh my god, like I would never work with them, even if they were saving me from, or even if they were bringing a lot of skill to the table. I would never do that. Roma here, Roma, nice with the portfolio. I haven't seen your portfolio in a while, man. I don't remember what was the last piece I saw, but I remember seeing this one on the Discord. I love this piece, man. I really, really like it. I think we could improve the lighting a little bit, especially on that first thumbnail. It's a little bit on the dark side, but it's really, really good character. All of your process was really, really good. I know you follow some of the tutorials from the YouTube channel because this is the vampire that we were doing, but you took it again. You took it to the next level. You made it something that's even better than the character that I was doing. I love this one as well. the witch doctor, the plague doctor. Nice. Yeah, good stuff, man. Marvelous designer right there. I don't love the pose on this one. He looks a little bit on the lazy side of things. And the armor also looks a little bit on the clay side of things. Kaito, that's running. Yeah, I think you're really gonna... Did you got the... I think you got the anatomy course, right? Because definitely one of the things that I see is we need to improve the anatomy a little bit there. But it's good, man. Your material and everything is good. It's just polish that we need to work on now. Does anyone else battle with not liking anything you do? I have that sometimes, Casey. And here's the thing. I do a lot of things that you never see. You guys never see. Like sometimes I record videos 2, 3, 4 times. And it sucks. And I have to stop, learn something, remember a skill, go over my notes, and then do it again. And that's something that also I think we have forgotten a lot, especially with social media. Social media is only... We only see in social media the best things, like the highlights, right, of our lives and of our careers. I struggle with things. I have issues, personal issues. I got some bad days as well, family issues. Like I'm not perfect. No one's perfect, right? But we don't see that. I'm not gonna be highlighting that in my reels or anything. So it's important that you understand that you need to try not to be as hard with yourself. You're gonna be the person that's gonna be the hardest with yourself because you know yourself. There's a little bit of the imposter syndrome sort of thing. So try to be a little bit more understanding with yourself and try to understand or identify why you don't like the things that you're doing. Is it because you're lacking skill? Is it because you are lacking direction? Is it because you're lacking motivation? And once you pinpoint the problem, it's a lot easier to troubleshoot. Houdini has a free license where you can train but not expert. Yeah, that's the one I'm trying to see if I can use to learn a little bit more of. Oh, Giovanni, yeah, I've seen yours. I remember seeing this Luffy Gear 5th a couple of portfolios ago. I feel, and I mentioned this before, I feel like it was falling a little bit into the Uncanny Valley. This one is definitely feeling a little bit more realistic. But here, the Uncanny Valley that I'm seeing is the mix of like this medieval and then this sort of like sci-fi thing. It's weird. It's just weird. Like this one right here, like if you just leave this character as this one, maybe add a couple more like bells, bandages or something, hair of course, I think you could have like a very strong character here. Again, like a fantasy character. But then these plates, they look weird, man. They look very sci-fi-ish. Very, very sci-fi-ish. Horizon, oh, okay, Horizon Zero Dawn. That makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, so it's a weird mix, but it could work. It could work. Wait 1 second, guys. Okay. Cool. So yeah, good man. Just finish this one. I think if you finish that character, that one's gonna be a strong portfolio piece. Do you feel it's important to showcase call-out sheets in your portfolio for each project? It could help. If you're doing your own design, yes, it could definitely help. No, I'm here. Says, hello, I'm Thomas Nguyen. I have a hard time pronouncing this one, and I know it's a very common last name, but Nguyen? Is it Nguyen? I'm gonna have to learn that one, because I know it's very common. I'm currently a junior at CSU for their Game Art Bachelor's program. I'm a new subscriber to the channel and love away Nguyen, says the hidden Nguyen. That makes more sense. I love the way you give back to the artist community with your portfolio reviews and videos. So thank you so much. I consider myself a CG journalist, but I do lean more towards the environment, prop modeling, and texturing side of things. Nguyen. Oh, that's easier. Thank you, that one artist, Nguyen. My current goal is to land an internship at a studio to get my foot in the door into the industry. I hope to get feedback on the quality of my work and its presentation to gauge where I stand and should be applied. I'm going to talk about something out there in just a second. Oh, this is pretty cool. Yeah, this is the stuff that I'm learning about. That's cool. Okay, so we got a very sort of like stylized, low poly-ish environment thing, Thomas. I think that's a little bit better, a little bit closer to like realistic stuff. But it's just the door. Okay, this is good. This is a little bit better. We see a little bit of an environment. I don't know why people are so obsessed with corridors. I know this maybe because it's easy. On the environment course, I'm going to show you how to make things a little bit more interesting, because unfortunately corridors are very, very boring. That's a good weapon. I like this one. Careful with these renders. These are like empty renders. Not good. I prefer this sort of like gray background, to be honest. Like with a little bit of a gradient maybe. We need to see wireframe, Thomas. We need to see a wireframe. Okay, that's a fun one. I feel like we still need to, again, see more complex things, Thomas. I know you mentioned that you are on the... at school. You're junior, so that means that you're roughly starting, maybe. Here's the thing, guys. And I want you to be very, very honest with this. For instance, we all know Sony Santa Monica, right? God of War. If you go back in time, like really, really, really back in time, you're gonna see that one of the first studios or one of the first games that Sony Santa Monica did was very shitty. It was a very bad game. It was like this vehicle game back in the day. Where is it? Well, it's not there. Anyway, the thing is, when we talk about the industry, and we talk about these projects right here, like God of War, which is a huge game, of course we would all love to work there, right? But the thing is, they're at the top of the game. So why would they hire you when they can hire the top of the game artists like Rafael Grassetti, right? Why would they hire me even? Yeah, I'm not that good. So it's difficult for you to get a foot on the door at these big studios when you're just starting. But here's the trick. Sony Santa Monica did not start, I think it was, yeah, Kinetica PS2, maybe. Sony Santa Monica did not start with these big games. Yeah, there we go. This is where they started. Look at that. Look at that. That's where they started. So, if you were an artist fresh out of school and you got a good enough portfolio to work on this one with Sony Santa Monica about 20 years ago, you were already working at Sony Santa Monica, but it was not Sony Santa Monica, right? If you stayed throughout those 20 years, now you were working at God of War, and your game is all there at the top of the game, right? So my point with this is, don't only look at the top 3D or AAA game studios or movie studios out there. There's a bunch of smaller indie studios that will one day be at the level of Sony Santa Monica, because they will get there. It's the same thing with Larian, right? Like now I see Larian as like, oh, I would love to work with them. That looks like a very chill, very cool place to work. But Larian Studios started with Divinity, Original Sin, back in the day, right? And no one was taking them seriously. I mean, they were a AA studio, probably. They had a good budget, but like if you were given the option to work at Original Sin, the original Sin, or at God of War, you would pick God of War any day. But if you stayed with them a couple of years later, you would be working at Baldur's Gate 3, one of the the game of the year last year, right? So it has to do with what I've talked about throughout this live stream. We need to be a little bit more patient about where we place our bet, right? If you want to go straight into working with with the top games, it's gonna be tough because you're gonna have to be really good. But even if you're not that good at first, if you start at an indie game and then that indie game freaking explodes and becomes a massive thing, you're gonna end up working at one of the best games as well. But it's gonna take time. It's gonna take a couple of years to get there. So don't only look at the top games, because most of the messages that we've gotten today from the portfolio here say that. It's like, I want to work at the top games. I want to work at the best studio. It's like, yeah, but there's a lot of works or a lot of jobs out there at smaller studios, and that small studio could potentially become a big studio later on, and you could be part of that. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. What type of studio would you expect as a 3D artist in an interview? They're going to ask you about your skills, of course, like what kind of softwares do you know, what kind of pipelines do you know. They might ask specific questions that you might need to answer, like a test, like what would you do if you had to do this or that? And you're going to have to think on your feet. But most of the time, they're going to ask you about you as a person. Usually, when you get the interview after they have seen your portfolio, it's because they want to know you. So just don't be creepy. Be a nice guy. Be a cool dude. Don't be a dick. And you're gonna have more chances. Okay, so that was Thomas. Let's go. How many are we missing? Let me check, because we got only 30 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. It's gonna be like 3 minutes per portfolio. We're gonna go a little bit faster. We're gonna speed run this. Says, hi, I'm Paolo Alegre. I'm currently a student in animation and digital illustration program. In my last year in my bachelor's program, I have learned so much from YouTube shorts and long tutorials. Your tips have significantly improved my workflow. My goal in this industry is to become a 3D character asset creator. Let's take a look. Awesome. This is really good. I really like this armor right here. Some of these are a little bit on the like simpler side of things, but you are using a little bit of hand painted, which is really cool. So you do know about illustration and design. That's nice. This Cyclops definitely needs a little bit of a pass on anatomy. You might want to get the course just to give it a little bit of a polish. But here's the thing, man. You definitely, Paolo, want to show me that you can do retopology, bakes, and textures. We're missing that. I'm only seeing high poly elements. For a good portfolio, we need to see the full process. I know you have design skills. I know you have character skills. Now we need to see the production skills, the pipeline skills, okay? Anthony, you wrote your life. Don't worry, I'm going to go over it. If I don't read it out loud, I'm just going to read it quickly to understand the situation. No, it's definitely a good idea, Davis, to have a dream studio on your portfolio. When I was doing my portfolio, Blizzard was always my dream studio, and I tailored it towards that sort of like thing. But then that piece that I did, which was the Ice Giant, I've showed them before. That piece got me my first job, and the rest is history. I never worked at Blizzard. I worked on a Blizzard project a couple of years ago, but I haven't worked at Blizzard. This piece right here was the piece that I was doing, again, tailored towards the cinematic department of Blizzard, and it was the one that got me my first indie job, or job at an indie studio. I worked there for like 1 year, and just keep going, right? So it's definitely a good idea to keep a dream studio on your mind, and if you're living close to it and you have chances because you know people, that's always good. My main message there is just keep in mind that it's going to be a little bit more complicated to go to a really big studio as your first job. It's easier to start at an indie or a smaller studio and then move up towards that goal that you have. Cool. Yeah, Paolo, that would be my advice. Just try to do the full pipeline for all of them, and you're going to be in a good position there because you got some cool concepts there. Now we go with Emilio Lin. Says, I'm currently studying 3D modeling and texturing. My goal in the industry is to become a look development artist for animated films. Nice. We haven't had a lot of films stuff. Really love lighting and texturing my scenes, and I'd love to get my feedback for your portfolio, let's say. Okay, so here's my best advice for you, Emilio. Oh, you're from Mexico. Awesome. My best advice is go with someone who's doing environment art and do a like team project, okay? Because I see very simple things that you have right here, and for look dev and for cinematic lighting and rendering, you want to have like a full scene that you can showcase different lighting scenarios. Like this football. This football is from the render challenges. Everyone has access to this one if you guys want to like try it out. I actually used this on my cinematic class that I did for Nexted a couple of years ago. So you need to find someone who has cool scenes or cool characters and collaborate with them so that you can show them in the best possible light, which is something that we've seen in the past couple of portfolios. So literally just go here in the Discord and say, hey, I'm a lighting artist. I want to do some lighting exercises. Does anyone have a project that needs lighting? And work with them. At the end of the credits, you just say, hey, I did the lights, I did the materials, and this guy did the modeling. And that's a good way in which you can collaborate to get a stronger portfolio, because right now the portfolio looks simple, right? Like it's simple assets, and I don't see very intense like lighting scenarios. Look for cinematography. We have great Mexican cinematographers, El Chivo, who works with Cuarón quite frequently. Look at the stuff that he does and try to replicate it. Try to show, for instance, this football in 2 or 3 different lighting scenarios, and you're going to get, again, another stronger portfolio piece as well. Carl, we're going to be sharing the Discord link in just a second. David here is going to help me with that. So, yeah. What separates a junior, mid, and senior artist? Experience. Experience and the amount of projects that they have worked on. Because it's not necessarily a skill level, because you could have a junior artist who's as skilled as a senior artist, but the senior artist has more knowledge about the pipeline and the process, so he's going to be able to troubleshoot more things, and therefore it's a little bit more valuable in the pipeline. Skill, of course, is important. It's also a deciding factor, but experience is quite important as well. Usually, you start as a junior, 3 years later, you become like a mid-level artist, and then like 3 years later, so about 6 years of work in the industry, you're considered a senior artist. But I've seen senior artists that have the title that I would not consider senior artists. I've seen junior artists that should definitely be senior artists, so it's a very sort of abstract like naming convention as well. That's why it's usually related to experience. How long have you been doing things? It also has to do with union things. So if you're working in the US and there's unions related to the kind of work that you're doing, the amount of time will give you another title and therefore another pay rate. So it's a little bit of a complicated thing. Yeah, David, they were asking for the link on the YouTube. Carl there on YouTube. My name is Marina. I'm seeking to be a 3D generalist and technical artist. I'm having some issues on creating a good portfolio to catch clients' attentions. What advice can you give me to improve my portfolio? I'm still working on new pieces, but by now I only have 2 that I feel comfortable sharing. Let's take a look. Ah, that's good, actually. Okay, that's okay, it was good on the thumbnail. It's a little bit on the weird side here. Yeah, so you're trying to use action for what I'm seeing here, and you need to work a little bit more on the action, because those look like just a very simple action pass you did. Same for the texture, and same for the anatomy. So if you want to, it's interesting, Mary, because I'm not sure if you want to do characters or creatures. You're definitely going into the creepy vibe, like horror stuff. There's this Wayne Barlow. There we go. Wayne Barlow is very like a huge like horror guy. You might want to try and take some of his like concepts and do your own like interpretation of them. I think this is roughly the kind of stuff that you're doing. And but again, you need to improve on the technical skills, because right now I see good sculpting bases, but we need to work on the texturing side of things. The skin on this girl is not bad, but she is definitely on the uncanny valley side of things, and the hair definitely needs some fixing. You don't need to do hairs all the time. There's this pinhead creature, this guy right here, and I've seen like female versions of this guy. So you could definitely do like a female pinhead version. Doesn't need any hair. It's still scary. It's still creepy, and it could fill with this sort of like arachnid sort of thing. But we definitely need to add more detail. Okay. It's on the low side of the details right now. Let's go with Justin. Justin says, I'm a self-taught hobbyist aiming to switch careers and land a junior level position in either ArcViz or game development studio. Okay, ArcViz is a good option. Most of want to focus on environment creation, but I realize it will also be beneficial for me to be able to model props independently, which I've been doing for my scenes. Okay, let's take a look. Yeah, so the question is it okay to use pre-made things? Like if I want to do this environment right here and I want to just download chairs and what's the word? And a refrigerator and doors and things like that, it's fine. Clients don't care. Like clients will not care if everything was handmade by you. They just care about the final result. However, here's my advice for this. You should never use something, or you should try to always have the skills or the knowledge on how you would do something. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say someone asks me, hey, I need you to do a kitchen render for next week. I'm not going to model anything. I'm just going to buy everything or download all of the assets and do the kitchen that they're asking for, because I'm focused on just generating the product for them. However, I do have the skills to do everything. So if at one point they're like, hey, you know what? We want a very specific brand of refrigerator for this scene and there's no 3D model available, I feel confident enough that I can do it. So from a business perspective, I don't need to do it and I can just buy all of the assets or use all of the free assets. But from an artistic perspective, you should always have the skills. And if you don't have the skills and you need to deliver a project, fine, deliver it, but work on the skills in case at any point you need to prove that you can do a specific type of furniture or a specific type of thing that you can't find online. So that would be my advice. You should do a content as well, Ave? You mean contest, Hudson? Yeah, I think we should do a new contest. We did one last year. I think we should do another one. About your question an hour ago, sometime ugly truth is needed to go forward. Yeah. What should the post on the portfolio include besides the render and wireframe? Any additional tips? Renders, wireframes, and breakdowns on how you did certain things would be important. So, for instance, if someone did this kitchen and they did all of the elements, like they modeled all of the things, having just like all of the things lined up would be a nice thing to do. There we go. Let's go to the next one. Oh, okay. So, Jay Salas, sorry, one more thing I want to say, because that kitchen looks very good. But then the sort of like organic things like this one right here, it does look a little bit on the simple side, like very, very blocky, very simple. So you definitely want to learn a little bit of ZBrush, like sculpt some like more organic things, because everything looks a little bit too blocky. Oh, this is good. Wait, did you do like a stylized? Interesting. Why? Okay, perfect. Yeah. So it says right here, I wanted to create a bunch of new techniques that I've learned. This is not the place to show things that you learned. This is a place to show the things that you are capable of. So this exercise right here is something that I would share on my Instagram, not on my portfolio. So yeah, I would recommend you learn a little bit of ZBrush, man, or sculpting inside of Blender, so that you can do things like ruins and I don't know, like this like phase that you have right there. That's from the Forgotten Temple, right? The show game. That was a good one. So yeah, that would be my advice for you. Yeah, we definitely should do a contest. By the way, your live watch quantity is always consistent, considering you're streaming over almost 3 hours. Yeah, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? I think that's a good thing, right? And yeah, I think we should definitely do a contest. I'm thinking about either weapon we already did. I was thinking about a character contest, because we've gotten a lot of character courses already, or like a small environment concept or something. Provide one of your courses. No, we give away courses. No, I would give money. I think in the last course we gave like $100 price. Let's go with Martin Gobetsky. Says, hi, I'm Martin from Macedonia. I just started learning 3D in M3DS Academy in October. I still have 3.5 years out of 4 years. You still got a lot of things to learn, my friend. Let's take a look at what you've been doing. Hey, not bad there. Yeah, not bad for a first project, man. Not freaking bad. The only thing I would change is the illumination. It's a little bit dark, so it's a little bit difficult to see all of the cool details that you added. Maybe like a rim light, so that it punches a little bit more. Or do a little table. Like, you already have all of the skills here to do like a little wooden table for this thing to sit on, for like an environment. Because remember, anytime you have an environment, a light will bounce off of that environment, and it will illuminate your stuff a lot better, a lot nicer. So it's going to give you a nice result. But yeah, this is good, man. Keep up the good work. You're learning the skills that you need, and I'm sure you're going to be creating some very, very cool things as well. Courses and money. Yeah, we can do that. I'll talk with David and see if we can launch something soon. Bandan Gupta. I'm currently working in a tech company as a 3D artist and doing some product modeling and animation for them. I want to be a prop and environment artist. Let's take a look. Okay, this is very conceptual. You got some cool pieces here. I like this one. Is it 3D? Oh yeah, it's 3D. Interesting, yeah. It's hand painted. This one's very cool as well. See, the problem with this type of stuff is that unless you show how you could include this on a game, this just remains as a conceptual piece. And it's a very good conceptual piece. Like, I could see this as a wallpaper for my phone or something. But unless, again, you find a way to make this so that it works inside of Unreal, for instance, it just remains there as a concept. Let's do this. Collaborate with more YouTubers. Yeah, we definitely need to start reaching out to some and see what we can do there as well. Fan arts are cool. What did you do here? This is important that you explain what you did here. Like, did you model the stormtroopers armor and everything? Because if you did, we want to see some breakdowns. I really like the fact that you made this into a little like cinematic movie. Like, it looks very cool. And Star Wars always sells, but you need to show more breakdowns of the things that you're doing. I don't like this compositions, and I don't know why they're so common. Like, this super dark things and super bright things. I don't like it. That's a personal thing, by the way. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's a good scene. It's just it's very difficult to see. Now the concept there is way more complex. I'm not seeing that complexity here, and even the scale looks a little bit off. Look at the. Well, actually, it doesn't look that. It's like the size of the railing here. It's way too wide over here. The size of the bikes. So all of that thing, people are gonna notice, Manan. It seems like you have a good grasp on the whole thing. If you want to do more environment stuff, you need to start doing more open environments as well. Again, landscapes, foliage, things like that, so that you can show that you have that sort of range. Auberon says, hello, mi nombre es Álvaro Torres. Okay, I'm gonna read this quickly because otherwise I'm gonna sound weird just reading everything in Spanish. Okay. Okay, so Auberon says he's from Chile, and of course the industry over there is very, very small. He's a software engineer, and he wants to do digital sculpting. He wants to focus on digital sculpting. He knows ZBrush to sculpt and Blender to render. Let's see. Oh, cool. Yeah, he took the Thyros course. Yeah, that's a good one. And then he did the Hawk. Yeah, man. I mean, you're definitely on learning stages of the whole thing. I don't think you really need this one. What you need to do, and here's the cool thing, if you already have the focus that you just want to do digital sculpting for 3D printing, for statues, for just collectibles or whatever, that's great. You don't need to do retopology, you don't need to do texture, you might need to do polypaint or things like that, but you can just like focus completely on ZBrush. My advice, because you already have a good grasp on anatomy here, maybe the ZBrush stylized course might be a good one for you, because I teach some rendering things there that you could really benefit from, and some of the props and stuff that the Oni has. So I think that one could definitely be worth it for you, man. But yeah, this is cool, man. You got a good grasp on the tools. It's now time that you start creating more pieces. Try doing a female character. Try doing a monster. Try doing a normal, like, male character, because these guys are a little bit on the stylized side of things. So that could give you, again, a little bit more range. Yatsum says, hey, Abe. Yes, you do need to do that reprojection thing. For subdivision or for displacement, but you don't really need to, it's not that the high poly is going to have subdivision. It's more that you're going to reproject all of the high poly details to the low poly, and therefore you need to subdivide. So it's the low poly that has the UVs. But yeah, that's right, you do need to do that reprojection. I'll talk about that soon, I hope. Sha Paolo says, hi, I'm Shiba. I'm recently graduated in game design program. I'm currently trying to build my portfolio to display my work to get hired as a 3D artist. I'm still a generalist. I don't have my niche yet, but I'm constantly learning to become better. I'm going towards the right direction. So you want to be generalist. Okay, let's take a look. So the things that I look for a generalist are modeling, texturing skills, which I see here on the DK barrel. You definitely want to add a couple more subdivisions. You don't need this to be as low poly. Shiba. And then you're going for this. I'm not a huge fan of this low poly sci-fi thingies, because again they look too easy to do, right? It's too blocky, too simple. I know they can work very nicely on like a mobile game or something, but this is not something that we normally see on the gaming industry. I would recommend probably the Axe course for you, because that's gonna teach you the basics. For a generalist, Shiba, you need to know modeling, texturing, UVs, a little bit of rigging maybe, and a little bit of animation. That's what a generalist does, right? Like, you need to know how to rig simple things like simple props, and how to animate simple things, simple props as well. Walk cycle, run cycle, things that you will normally see on a character, okay? I'm a 3D artist from Kathmandu, Nepal, and I really love your tutorials. I'm specializing in low poly modeling and texturing for games. A couple of years experience with texturing for AR, VR, which is what I do as well. I really want to learn a remote job in gaming industry as a prop artist. Let's take a look. Dude, again, you have a very cool, insect here. Don't know what the name is in English, and you don't have it on your portfolio. Why? That's just a very weird decision that you guys make. This is good. It's a fun little gun. It's a little bit on the heavy side on the poly count, especially here on the straps. You can definitely minimize the straps right there. Dragonfly, there you go. Thank you, man. Study on the PBR, low poly asset. Okay, this is better. More optimized, that's great. And textures look good. Yeah, that one's good. And then you got this backpack, hemp back. This is really good texture. Really, really good. Do we have wireframe? We don't have a wireframe. We need a wireframe. And a graph, what I would recommend for you is first add the little dragonfly. That would be cool. And second, we need to start going for more complex assets. Again, simple things like this, pretty much any proficient 3D artist can do. So you need to show me something that's like, okay, this is not something that anyone can do. And I'm going to show you very quickly here. Prop concept art. So most of the stuff that you see here on the first page of the prop concept art Google is something that I would expect any 3D artist to be able to do. So if I ask anyone, this would be on like the complicated side of things or like a little bit more complex, but I would expect anyone who knows how to 3D model to do something like this, to do something like this, to do something like this. So that's easy. That's not easy, it's expected, okay? So if I see this on your portfolio, if I see one of these pieces, okay, cool. He has the basic stuff. But do you have the complex stuff? Can you do something that's like a really, really more ambitious, right? So, for instance, something like this, okay? Like this is where I would see people struggling because they wouldn't know how to properly lay out their textures, what kind of techniques to use for their textures, right? Or if I see someone doing something like this, like that's complex. It has way more pieces, way more like silhouette changes and things like that. So that's the kind of stuff that you want to do to really separate yourself from all of the other artists that can do this guy right here. Everyone can do this. I know you guys can do it. I can teach anyone to do this in like 1 month. But not anyone can do something like this. Foliage, hard surface, organic sculpting, material organization. Like it's way more complex, right? This is the kind of projects that you want to go for your portfolio because these are the kind of projects that are going to separate you from everyone else doing a lamp, which is a perfect exercise to learn, but it's not a great exercise to have on your portfolio. Does that make sense? How long do you think this kind of thing would take? Like this one, I would expect like at least 2 or 3 weeks. Again, all of the simple ones should be like 2 days at most. But that complex one, definitely more time. These are great, by the way. It's a great site. Like all of this chess, these are great for practice. Like you want to learn the process, you want to learn how to do things. This is great for a practice piece. You want to really show that you know your stuff. This is how you, it's kind of like showing off, right? Like it's really like that's your portfolio. Your portfolio should be a way for you to show off how awesome of an artist you are. It's like, look at this freaking amazing things that I can do. The interesting thing or the sad thing is that eventually when you get to the studio, this might have been the piece that got you hired, but then they're going to ask you to do this. It's like, that's very simple. Yeah, I know. Well, we need to do that. And you're going to do that or that or this or this, right? So you need to show that you can do really complex stuff, even if when you get into the studio, they're going to ask you to do simple stuff at first. And then you get better and better, and they're going to show you or let you do like better things as well. And finally, oh no, we got 2 more. Sorry. We got this one. Anthony Ack on Twitch says, I graduated 2 years ago with the BFX animation title. I'm a more of the 3D modeler, hard surface when I ended this journey at school art. Job. Hard surface character artist. I want to evolve on this 3D world. Enjoy the interest for films or game art. Okay. Okay. Okay, so Anthony here says that he has shown this demo reel to other people and he's gotten some feedback. I'm gonna take a look blindly and let's see what we get. No music. I don't like music. I'm gonna watch it first and I'm gonna say what I think later, okay? Okay, yeah, that's fine, Anthony. I understand that this is all for film, so it's not for games. It's on the high side of things. I'm gonna go a little bit faster here. Okay, so first feedback, man. These turntables are going way too slow. It's usually recommended that a turntable takes about 2 to 3 seconds. Some people say 5 seconds. To me, 5 seconds is way too much, especially nowadays that we're used to scrolling so fast. So I think these are like 5 seconds. You probably want to like make them a little bit faster. And I would rather see a still shot so that I can appreciate it. Now, one thing that I've noticed on all of the projects that I see on this demo reel is that the texturing is very sort of like procedural. So I don't see like materials like rust and scratches and metal edgeware and things like that. It looks very CG, right? So that gives us this very interesting thing about this very flat look on the whole thing. So I'm not seeing look depth, lighting. I'm also not seeing a lot of lighting. This is just like a basic clay render setup. So I would probably give them a couple of texture passes. I don't mind seeing all works. Like this one right here is really good, to be honest. Like this sweep master is exactly what I was mentioning. Like you are showing a very advanced thing that not everyone can do in a short amount of time. But texturing wise, it definitely needs more work because it just looks like a collectible, like a toy. And I would like to see how it would look inside of a movie. Okay, so this one's right here. I don't love them. I've seen them on Genshin Impact. I was a player as well. I haven't played in a while, but I feel like texturing, we're missing the texture. They look very fakeish, right? Very, very fakeish. League of Legends released their cinematic a couple of months ago. You might want to look and see, because on their page, I think they share some behind the scenes, and you can see how they shaded their models, and it's a way, way, way more complex shade. Also, this Nintendo, you missed the mark, man. This is not the proper like thickness. This is way, way too thick for a Switch. So you're a little bit off of the mark there on some of the buttons and some of the modeling things. Now, it's not a bad demo reel. It's not a bad demo reel, but you definitely need to improve the texturing side of things. Because right now, I would just consider you like a modeler. Because again, I don't see that sort of like interesting texturing thing going. Now, I don't see ZBrush, and if you want to be a modeler, you definitely wanna include that. 'Cause, if you want to do hard surfacing characters, we need to see a little bit of that. Now, let's take a look at your portfolio real quick. Yeah. Again, I think you have good projects. I would take this 2 out. I'll probably leave the Switch. That's fine. As a modeling one. This one I don't love the weapons. I would keep this one, but just go in and really give it a substance painter like detail, because I see a little bit more detail here than I do over here. And if you go outside to any construction site and you see how the machines look, they look really, really damaged. Really, really like there's a lot of detail in there. So that'll be my advice. Maybe you want to check out the substance course if you don't have it yet, Anthony. I think that one could be helpful for you as well. And we got to the final one, Juan Guerra. I actually saw Juan's portfolio yesterday when I was closing. I was just curious. I was like, oh, let me take a look at this. And I saw your stuff, man. He's a traditional sculptor, which is very, very cool. How to organize my portfolio. Let's take a look. So from your portfolio, man, I saw this one. I love this one. So cool, man. Such a cool character right here. I think I can immediately tell when someone knows sculpture because of the way they manage forms, and you have a perfect control over your forms. Like, you create these very, very interesting characters. Now, here's what you need to decide. Do you just want to be a sculptor and like creator, or do you want to do the full pipeline? If you just want to be a sculptor for 3D printing, for collectibles, for toys, that's fine. This one's great, by the way, also. ZBrush and Photoshop. So most of the textures I gather you're doing in sort of like photo bashing things. However, if you want to get into the industry as a character artist, which, let me say, you do have potential because you have a really good control of your characters, you need to do a full character, and you need to do that full character with the full process, right? Retopology, UVs, textures. Because I can definitely see this sort of like Dishonored vibe on this character right here, and it looks very, very cool. And the fact that you are a traditional sculptor gives you a lot of points. Actually, Rafael Grassetti was a traditional, or is a traditional sculptor as well, and that has helped him quite a bit in his career. So I strongly recommend that if you want to pursue character art, you do have the necessary tools. It's just a matter that you need to master the whole process. Again, retopology, UVs, and textures with Substance Painter. I can see that you're using Blender for some of the renders. This is very, very cool. Do you have a I would like to do hand painted on this guy. This guy would look amazing with hand painted, like Arcan style. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Sí, yo hablo español, creo que hablo español. Soy de México. Thank you for the feedback, Abe. Abe's battery is at 20%. Yeah. It's been a long one. Portfolio review is always a long one. Now I'm learning a full. Yeah, there you go, man. Yeah, so if you're learning the full pipeline, man, that's the best advice that I can give you, because you do have a good like grasp of art in general, like composition, light, poses, all of that. That's great. It's just you need to learn. You are one of the few rare cases where I would recommend to learn the technical side of things instead of the artistic side of things, because you already have the artistic side of things. A lot of other people are the other way around. They're really good with the tools. They know Blender, they know ZBrush, they know Maya, but they don't have this sort of like sensibility of light and composition and proportions and things like that. So in your case, it's all technical. You need to learn the tools. In other people's case, it's more about the art side of things. Mateo, I can check your portfolio next month. We're going to have another review next month. You just need to go into our Discord channel, drop me a link for your portfolio, and we go over it like we did here on this live stream today. So that's it. I'm not sure how many portfolios we went through, but a lot of them. A lot of them of portfolios today. A lot of cool stuff. We even had a cool philosophical sort of like thing there at the middle of the stream. It was fun, guys. It was fun. I'm definitely thinking, because it's been, as Hudson said right here, it's definitely getting a little bit intense to do so many portfolios in just one session. So I'm thinking about, I'm going to bounce this idea with David, but I'm thinking about like breaking it down throughout the month. I'm still not sure how to do that, but we're definitely going to be like making some changes for next month. So if you want to stay tuned, make sure to go into our Discord channel, join the Discord. That's where we're going to be announcing when the next portfolio review is going to be opening, and that we're going to announce if there's any new dynamics or if we keep the same format. Other than that, we got, of course, our premium courses in our site. David here is going to be sharing the link. That's the best way you can support us, of course, with a like, with a share, watching our videos, watching our shorts, and checking our premium courses there at the site. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. It's definitely time for me to get some rest. I got another meeting later today, another portfolio review with one of the universities, actually. That one's going to be fun. But yeah, so that's it, guys. Have a great weekend. I'm going to be preparing more content here for the channel. I'm going to prepare the new premium course as well. It's coming along. You guys know it's going to be environment. We talked about this before. And if you want to keep or get the latest news, again, make sure to join the Discord. Have a great weekend, my friends. Don't forget to find that thing that's going to be your success, and make sure to work hard to get there. That's it, guys. I'll see you back on the next one. Have a great day. Bye-bye.